Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. We always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. right, good folks. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is Hump Day Wednesday. Look at that. Perfect timing. Blake and Aaron are here. Let's see what's going on. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. What happened?
Started coughing as I came on. Let me get one of my lozenges. Ricola.
Ricola.
Oh my god. I just had a vision of that commercial now.
Ad, right?
Yeah, on top of a mountain.
What happened in court yesterday? Did you go on your field trip?
That really, yeah.
Right. What can you say?
We'll do a recap. We're doing a daily recap on the show, so we can tell you what happened. We just can't get into any commentary.
Yeah. What can you tell us? Because we won't be listening. We'll be doing our own show.
Well, they showed and went through a lot of video evidence with the first witness, which was a detective, and so a lot of repeating of the video footage. And
what did you see at? Well, you probably can't say. What did you see at the Ritz?
Beautiful carpet.
Got it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's back on again today?
Yep. Trial continues. Continues. I know. It's going to be a long, I guess, couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds good.
So it's all good. Good morning to everybody. Roll call.
Yeah. 71 degrees outside. It is cold.
Oh my gosh. I love the weather.
It is cold out. Warming up to 76 today for a high only.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Chilly.
I love it.
Nice breeze. Might get a little wind chill factor out of the north, 10 to 20. Tomorrow, 78. Friday, 82. Weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 80.
Love the chill.
Looking nice.
Yes, gorge.
Go for your roll call, and we'll do news in about 1 minute.
Okay. All righty. All right. Roll call. Miss Vernita's in the house. Hello,
What's up? What's up?
Diamond Princess is here. She says, good morning, lovely people.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Beautiful Michelle. Her
Hey,
same
Michelle.
Hello.
Diamond Princess says, have a safe and blessed day. Damaris joining us from Queens, New York, which really cold.
Yeah.
Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Everton.
Yes, sir.
I forget where Everton from. He's somewhere in the States. Good morning to Andrew from Kansas City. Hey, Andrew.
What's up, KC? We're thinking about you.
Yeah, I know, right? Nice stuff. Siobhan, good morning. Stephanie joining us from Breakers this morning.
Breakers.
Miss Sonia from Georgetown Central.
Sonia.
Miss Olivia in the house.
Hey, Olivia.
Patricia Blake wishing the rest of the world a happy Wednesday.
Such a good name.
I know.
Winning. Bringing that back. Winning.
I need to get some of your sounds. Good morning, Miss Pat.
Big news. I have some important news for you. Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning. Let's head out to Sandyland and get the news from CMR.
Good morning, K-Man. How you guys doing?
What's up, honey child?
I love it. All right. Boy, it's hard to find good news on a Wednesday today. But
you can always make some.
Find some good news.
Just make it up. Did we talk about this one yesterday about the Haitian president? They're saying that his wife was actually involved somehow in his assassination.
Oh my.
Oh my gosh. Yes, this is like a mystery novel. So a judge in Haiti investigating the July 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse indicated that his widow, Miss Martine, along with the ex-prime minister, Claude Joseph, and the former chief of Haiti's national police, Leon Charles, were basically all involved. So this is quite an interesting case. 122-page report issued, said that there's a long list of people. They may not have had a direct involvement, but it said that they participated in some way or another. So, of course, the most shocking person in all of this is definitely his wife, who they say was motivated because she herself wanted the presidency. Pretty wild. Anyway, we'll see what flushes out. Over 40 suspects so far are in jail in Haiti awaiting trial. And among them are 20 former Colombian soldiers. So this is quite an undertaking. Wow, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, she probably could have found an easier way to kill her own husband instead of, all these co-conspirators. Because then you got 50 witnesses.
It's a nice cup of oleander tea.
I know, right? Come on, lady.
Oh, yeah, I had to cut that down. I was like, wait a minute, this is way too poisonous.
Wait a minute.
I had one. No, I had a huge, they're pretty, but yeah, they're poisonous.
You were drinking oleander tea?
No.
Oh, you're like, I had to cut down.
No, I had to cut down on the oleander tea. No, I had to cut down the oleander that was on my property. I was like, yeah, it's pretty, but
cut down. You should stop altogether.
I put a nice bug of there instead.
Yeah,
and then I put maiden plum all over my my. No,
oh my God!
Did you plant the oleander and be like, hey, Dion? See that?
Just in case you need it. Yeah. You always have some oleander around, right?
Oh my gosh. No. All right. So we don't want to report on you, Aaron.
We'll make our own news today. All right.
I know.
It's all
a man who was charged for having a gun in a rental car was actually found not guilty. You guys might remember this. This was the one back last year, 2022 in April. My gosh, the time's flying by. Where he gave chase and somebody shot at the police. So I don't know how you shoot at the police without a gun, but anyway. Locovia, it happened down by Locovia. Yeah. So apparently after this high-speed chase of approximately 10 miles in a white Toyota Yaris, which he rented some weeks before, now you come around and he has been found not guilty. So what happened is there was two people in the vehicle. Yeah. And one of the two, Eric William Soto, said it ain't had nothing to do with him.
Wasn't me.
So he denied the possession of the gun. And after they presented their case last month, to the court, there was a no case submission made on the grounds that there was no evidence actually linking him to the gun. And Justice Marlene Carter agreed and directed the jury to return a verdict of not guilty, basically saying that the prosecution has not presented any evidence that the firearm was physically in the custody or under the control of this particular defendant.
I mean, I get you have to present, that, but also he was in the car and shot allegedly at.
Well, somebody shot at the police. Maybe they didn't get to see exactly who while they were.
Aren't you guilty in some way by being present and part of committing a felony?
I think the gun possession charge is a little bit different. Like that requires specific things like control of the weapon. And
but he's going to be charged with something else, though.
Yeah. So
it's not like he's off yet, right?
And not to worry, but both him and his co-accused in this case are still awaiting sentencing on the killing of Harry Elliott.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So they already got him on murder of the retired prison officer. So he's still going to jail.
Involved the gun.
Sounds like a nice guy.
Yeah, which involved the gun for sure. Yeah. All right. So a new study, which we're going to be discussing this morning, talks about the COVID vaccine risk in heart and brain disorders. So in a lot of ways, this is actually really, really good news. And I'm going to delve into the details why. So this is the largest study thus far, over 99 nearly 100 million, 99 million people who actually took the vaccine across 8 different countries. Researchers now who have conducted this global COVID vaccine safety project talk about the risk. And what I can tell you why it's good news is, number one, the risk is really, really minimal of anything ever happening to you because of this particular vaccine. And the sample size, is really, really large. And there's no causation. It's just a link. So these are things that we have to remember and dig into a bit. So we'll do that this morning.
Alrighty.
Sounds.
And so yesterday, the trial of Makiva Bush, who remains an MP and parliamentary secretary under the UPM government, continued. The prosecutor called his first witness, which was a detective. I'll mispronounce his name, but I think it's Thayer. Anyway, he went through the video evidence of the location, and then the jurors were bused to the scene of the alleged incident, which is at the Ritz-Carlton, and they got a visual of exactly where the allegations, where the alleged touching and groping and biting and sucking, all that kind of stuff took place.
Mm-hmm. And that continues today.
That continues, yes. All right, so grand court trials don't normally take a break. They continue straight through. So that detective will now be under cross-examination this morning, and we'll move on to the other witnesses.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thanks for the update, Sandy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right.
All right. Rise and shine, everybody. I see y'all kind of moving slow. Roll call continues. We got some international crew with us this morning. Look at Justin. Hello, Justin. Joining us from Washington, D.C. Big up the D.C. people there. Justin Luis, good morning. I love your profile picture of you and your lovely bride. So nice. Siobhan. Yeah, I think I need she's saying, oh, I love it. I need one of those roll call little buttons. Ding. Present. Hals, good morning. How are you? Stephen joining us from the UK, feeling his KY love this morning. Cameron says, let's get it. They must have put voodoo on Sandy's tongue. Oh, Lord have mercy. No. We were trying to get the radio connection going. I think I've discovered something this morning with the radio connection that I hadn't really noticed before. But yes, honey chill, I noticed it this morning. So I'm actually going to send this to Dave to have a look at for me, because I think that these are actually two different links. This is weird, but I've discovered a little something this morning. Miss Wee Wee, good morning to you, darling. Siobhan says, don't off him in the first place. Jealousy is a bad thing to have. Oh, the Haiti situation. Listen, those people are crazy. JD, we're going to get all week. I've been trying to get to the Mind Your Business segment. I think we should make it a regular segment, because we're totally not. Listen, we're minding your business and everybody else's business. But I want to talk about this concept of mind your business. You know what? Lots of people have been waiting for me to get to that this week. Every day they're like, hey, did you talk about mind your business today? So let's kick off the show with that this week. I know Tish has been waiting, honey child. She's like, did I miss the show this morning? Did you get to mind your business? I said, no, not yet. But I'm going to get to it, because y'all need to wake the heck up. In more ways than one. So thank you, JD, for pointing out the obvious, that we are minding people's business, and there's a good reason why. Okay, Cameron says Sandy might even have a different accent this morning. Stacy's serving her cider. Oh, speaking of Miss Stacy, there she is knocking on the door. Come on through, Miss Stacy. Bring the breakfast, honey child. What do we got this morning? Eggs and lots of plantain. Miss Stacy said she's sick and tired of picking plantains off the tree, and then they sit here and they ripen and they go bad. Is there some kind of plantain dessert that we could make? I've had flaming bananas before. Can you do like a flaming plantain dessert? I don't know. But these are not too ripe this morning. These are like semi-ripe, but they're still good. I'll eat plantains any kind of way, shape, form. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks in between. Plantain chips coming right up. All right. So no apple cider vinegar. I've kind of laid off the apple cider vinegar, but make a note that we're going to start exercising in the studio this Friday. So y'all ready for that? Ooh, plantain tarts. Somebody just, oh yeah, thank you for that reminder. I don't know how to make plantain tarts, but that sure sounds delicious. Oh my goodness. Jackie, good morning. Damien is in the house. What about our Canadian friend? Nothing further on him yet. I'll have to check and see when he is due back in court, but honey child, chances are he's going to be walking. And I think it's the same judge, Marlene, in that case as well, if my memory serves me correctly. The largest studies in the world is still being, oh my goodness. Miss Lucille, buenos dias. Strong Wilt says, honey child, have a blessed day. Thank you. Justin, this is the first time I'm seeing you in the comment section. Is this your first time tuning into our program? Do you visit the Cayman Islands from Washington? If you don't, you should come. Listen, the weather out there is frightful. I feel like I could break into song right now, but it is so delightful. I love it. Oh my gosh, I put on my little hoodie last night. I was like, but it felt so good. And this morning, still a wind chill, but in the middle of the day, once the sun is out, it feels so good. So we're going to talk about our visit to the Ritz yesterday. And I can tell you when I was there, I was like, can I just like lie in this chair and ring my little bell? Can I have some coconut water, please? I want a vacation here right now. The breeze was so nice. Oh my goodness. I was thinking to myself, I need a hammock. Speaking of hammocks, I'm trying to get a couple installed, but I got to figure out where to hang them because it's like on a rooftop and, you know, I got to find out exactly where I can put them. But yes, I'm going to hang some hammock. I found some really nice ones. Big shout out to A.L. Thompson's this morning. I found some really nice ones there at A.L. Thompson's that are like the solid ones. They have a nice woven cloth. They look nice and thick and, you know, I don't like the knitting ones that you sit on them and your bunk, you're falling through the little holes in it. So I need something solid, honey. Chill. Good morning to Marcia. How are you? She said, good morning to the queen of the cold hard truth. Siobhan says, yummy to those plantain tarts. Oh, Magnum Opus is like, yes, plantain tarts are the best. I've not had one in a really long time. You can use the plantain with the phyllo dough and fry it like an egg roll, life-changing. But how do you just mash the plantain or how do you put the plantain together? Oh, there's a little thing flying around in my studio. Ooh, life-changing. Now you said fry it. We know frying food is no bueno, but I wonder if you could do it in the air fryer, how that would come out. Fried egg and plantain. Sandy going to be speaking different languages by the end of the show, says Cameron. Morning to the beautiful Lavana. Good morning, Brother Paul, joining us from Bermuda, where he says it is rainy. Oh my gosh. Justin says that he's a longtime visitor and a longtime listener. Keep shining the light. Thank you so much, Justin. Appreciate it. Cameron is wondering if I turn interior decorator. Cameron, you're so funny. Good morning to Miss Emma. So good to see you. Wishing everyone a blessed day. Scenic route. Oh, that's a different way to spell scenic. Says you can slice it thinly or mash it depending on how you use it. Okay. Strongwell says, Sandy, did Mr. Frankie Flowers call you back about that guy that had gotten fired? No, we've not heard anything from him or Dara, come to think of it. And I would not be holding my breath. Somebody jumped in to the comment section last week when we were talking about Frankie. I wanted to go back and see who that was. You know how somebody pops up, these trolls, I got to tell you, we have a lot of people that listen to the show on a regular basis. And a lot of times they don't say anything, you know, they're just there. And then there's some people who just pop in to try to troll you. But dare I say, let me sip on my tea while I make this announcement. Oh, honey child, let's have a little sip. Oops. Oh, yes, darling. Let's move the tea bag out of the way. Oh, the tea is especially delicious this morning. It is pomegranate pizzazz. Wow. Let me sip it again, honey child. Need I say that this person was like, oh, you're not going to call Frankie Flowers because you only pick on the small guy. Listen, you can troll me all you want, but for God's sake, please troll me with the truth. You know what I'm saying? I was like, who is this person? They must be crazy. Because clearly they don't listen to the program. Because we really have no favorites. We don't, this person's a certain person, so we can't call them. I only pick on the little guy. I was like, oh my God. Are you serious, honey child? Like, seriously? The amount of people that we talk about, and it's not picking on. Speaking about minding your business, we're shining a light in your behind. And it doesn't really matter who you are. If we got questions in this community, we all live here. So I don't know who that person was. I noticed they quickly disappeared after making such a nonsense comment. So yeah, I'm just like, y'all are so silly. I tell you what, where's I want to play y'all some messages relevant to the Mind Your Business segment. I don't think Charles is going to mind if I play these because Charles and I always have the most interesting WhatsApp conversations. But yes, at the end of the day, it is very, very shocking to think about somebody making that sort of statement. I'm like, y'all, clearly you do not listen to this show. Because if you did, you wouldn't be saying such nonsense. Yes? When people just try to troll you, honey child. But this is 2024. Somebody was saying to me the other day, Miss Sandy, when are we going to have a good pop-off segment? And I had to laugh. I said, y'all miss it, not true. They're like, yes, we want to hear more of it. I am reserving those for the occasional situation. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm actually a very, you guys might find this hard to believe unless you know me. I am actually a very even-tempered person in a lot of ways. Like I don't really make too much stuff. I'm going to talk about it, but I don't really let things agitate me too much. I'm very even keel. If you see me start to get agitated for real, y'all better really be concerned. I'm trying to remember which message. Oh God, sometimes I get so many messages from Charles. I must tell you, he is prolific. So hold on. He sent some about John, and I don't want to confuse those. Oh, there's about 10 messages that I haven't even listened to yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 messages. Damn. I'll have to go back and listen to those. But let me see. I think.
Good morning, Sandy.
Yeah.
I got to listen.
Can y'all hear that if I play it directly through? Because this might be the best way to do it instead of trying to save it and then convert it. So tell me if you can you hear it when I play this? Hold on.
Good morning, Sandy.
Yeah. I think y'all can hear that, right? Radio can hear it, looks like, based on the monitor. Instagram, YouTube, you guys can hear it? Y'all can hear that? Anybody? I
got to listen to the show this morning. I've been meaning to.
Have you been listening?
Send you a message back from the other day when you called me.
You can hear it. Oh, good. So I'm going to play it directly. I don't think he said anything personal. So we'll play those because that is relevant to our Mind Your Business segment. Okay, so here's the thing. Let me tell y'all what your Mind the Business segment is all about. It's like a new way of saying, in my opinion, I don't give a damn, I don't care, right? So when someone addresses a topic that you don't want in the public purview, you say, people need to learn to mind their own business. Mind your business. When people say that, for me, it means that y'all are unbothered. You don't care. This isn't something that you want highlighted. But what I find that's absolutely interesting about it is things that impact us as a community. Y'all are talking about mind your own business. No. I'm not minding my own business. Let me tell you what the litmus test is. Number one, if it happens in public, it ain't your business. It's everybody's business. Okay? So we will be minding everybody's business if it's in a public place. Let me give you some examples in case y'all need them. Everybody paying attention in class today? You're fighting in public. You're sloppy and drunk. You're committing a crime. You are abusing your child, slapping your kid around, beating up the boyfriend, beating up the girlfriend. None of that is your personal business when it happens in public. Morning, Andy, joining us from La Ceiba. It's no longer your business. If you want it to be your business, keep it inside your house. And it only remains your business inside your house if the police don't have to be called. Because the second you have to utilize public services like the Popo and 911, ambulance services, then it no longer becomes your business then either. because now it's in the public, you're using public services. So guess what? Everybody gonna be talking. That's what people do. Couple weeks ago now, we had a situation where people are parked, and they're still there, by the way. NRA, y'all need to get on this particular. Oh, by the way, 1 second, please. Did I send everybody the links this morning on WhatsApp? My apologies. I very well may not have. Hold on, honey chair. Ooh, I surely didn't. My apologies. Slacking off. Yes, so we talked about these derelict vehicles and, people who want to sell their vehicles on public road. And I noticed some of the comments, and I must say that I was surprised at a few people, including my good friend Soka. Her position's like, oh, that's the best place to sell a car. It may be, but it's the wrong place to sell a car because that is public land. It is interesting that a lot of times we don't see something wrong with a situation until it's too late. And then when it's too late and we got all public property with derelict, trashy vehicles all over the place, everybody wants to use public property to not just sell land, to sell food, to, take over the public beach with vendors who are not authorized to do so. They're out there selling everything, condoms to your kids, drugs to the babies and dogs, the whole nine works. Then y'all are like, oh my God, this has gotten out of hand. The police need to do something about it. Listen, there's a first line of defense to foolishness, May I say that again? For those of you in the back of the class, there is a first line of defense to foolishness. And it is called put your foot down and do not accept any and everything. We've talked about the slackness that's going on around here already. And I am very, very shocked and surprised at what people seem to be okay with these days. Oh my God, we need to bring Aunt Lottie back because she would have been like, y'all need to cut this foolishness out. No, it's not right to use public property as your personal sales lot. Go find a friend who has a lot somewhere where you can put it for sale. Stick it on EK. It's free to advertise your vehicle on EK. It's an eyesore. One of the things that people actually like about the Cayman Islands is that we don't look like a junkyard yet. Slowly getting there if we continue along this path. So I'm sorry if that's an example of, because y'all in the comment, mind your own business. It is my business because you're on public property. So get the vehicle off of public property and then it is no longer my business. Jamila says Facebook Marketplace. Yes, go out there and do it too. Y'all are ridiculous about mind your own business. We can mind our business, all right. These things are our business. Yesterday we saw a child, right, hanging out of the vehicle. Did y'all see that picture that we posted? And somebody, I don't think I really saw anybody said to mind your own business, but one comment really took me for a loop. Well, didn't we used to do this back in the day? Like, which one of y'all didn't hang out the car? I was like, but geez, peace. What is wrong with you people? There's a lot that you used to do back during the day. Back in 1988, y'all act like you're so old, that you would know now that you can no longer do. There are some things that are just not acceptable because we know better. Remember back in the day, y'all might have had parents that smoked in the car with the windows rolled up and the kids sitting right next to them. In this day and age, y'all know better now. Cancer kills and smoking causes cancer. So nobody should be smoking in front of children, and certainly not in a place where they can see the windows rolled up and you're filling up the car and filling up their little lungs with cigarette smoke. It is just absolutely shocking. Now, I don't know who this parent is of this child, but I'm going to beg you to please. The RCIPS will be giving you a call, okay? And they need to have a conversation with you about why this child is hanging out of a vehicle that is moving on a public road. This is another example of this is our business, because heaven forbid you have to suddenly brake. And that poor little child goes flying out the window. Look at it. Look at the child. So cute. Oh, my God. But this is not the way to transport children. I notice they're in a rental car. The rental company deal with them, too. Because this is going to be a liability in them, because if the child fall out the window, next thing you know, they want to be suing the car company. This is everybody's business. That poor little child's life is in danger. And by the way, we're going to talk a little bit this morning about child abuse. We're going to do some news from around the world. And that's one of the things that we are going to get to. Such a sad situation. Children abusing, parents, and other adults abusing children. That is a matter of everybody's business. And this person said this is the second day this week, the second time this week that I've seen this from the same person. Get it together. Some weeks back, a lady messaged me, sent me the screenshot of the conversation. Let me see if I can find this one, because this is the kind of stuff that on a regular basis just blows my mind. And it's nobody's business. Let me see if I can find this one. So this was a parent who apparently, let me see if I can find this now. Let me see. Who actually, let me see. Let me ask Misha if she can help me here. Had the child on some kind of motorcycle or something. And someone said to them, I'm going to record that and send that to CMR or something. And of course, the mother reached out trying to preempt the situation. Oh, Miss Sandy, he was just on there for like 2 seconds, and this doesn't need to be published, and it's nobody's business. Honey, child. I'm like, y'all are so ridiculously stupid as parents. I honestly, it blows my mind how your children survive you having you all as parents. Do you recognize that it only takes a split second for a child to fall off of a motorbike? No helmet, no protection, no nothing. Right? It only takes 1/10 of a second to hit a pothole, and then that baby goes flying. A little 2-year-old child or something it was. So don't be messaging me foolishness about, there's no need to put this up. Clearly, you as a parent need to check your common sense levels. Go and try to top up your common sense levels, because something seemed to be wrong with you. I don't even take kindly to those kind of stupid messages. Don't do it. It's easy to say it's only a couple of seconds. Nothing's going to happen until it happens. My apologies. I like what Miss Darlene said yesterday. She said, I strap in my very dog in the car, much less a child. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I just had to say that I agree with you 100% with the whole child thing. Like if I'm driving and I see a baby in the front seat, or I see a child hanging out, I'm calling 911. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care who's mad at me, because then they'll be the same ones, if something happens to the child, the same ones in your comment section saying, oh, don't post that, will be the same ones saying, oh, them parents are so negligent, da da da. Like, no,
and the same
I don't care
ones
if you
who are going to have to start a GoFundMe page for us to help them now pay for the funeral as well.
Exactly. If you won't protect your child and put them in a seatbelt or a car seat, I will call 911, because in my head, that is an emergency.
Yep. I agree. I totally
agree.
agree.
And I'll follow the car until the police get there too.
Ay. Absolutely ridiculous.
These poor babies.
Right? What they have to tolerate and put up with as parents, like I said, is ridiculous. Thank you, caller. I appreciate it. So when you're parked in a handicapped spot, when you're parked incorrectly, all of these things happen in some sort of public space. So don't be in the comment section telling people to mind your own business, because it is collectively our business. We are our brother's keeper. Here was the comment. Just to inform you, someone might send you a video of my husband riding a bike with his son. Please don't post it. My boy wanted to experience riding a bike with his dad. We live around the neighborhood from where the video was taken, probably 6 houses away. It wasn't a long ride, right? We just wanted to experience it because we just wanted to him to experience it because he wanted it so badly. Oh, yes. And apparently you make children dictate to you as parents what you should be doing. Y'all need your head checked. I don't think giving him a less than a 3-minute ride on a resident road will make us bad parents. Actually, it does, but let's continue. I don't think I should be explaining this, really. But we all know people love to jump into conclusion. So please do me a favor and do not post. It is not too much to ask. It'll be nice to know the identity. What should say? If it is not too much to ask, it'll be nice to know the identity of the person. People need to sometimes know not okay to go on people's business. Thanks, Sandra. Woman, whoever you are lucky these people did not send me the video. I'm still waiting on the video because I will definitely post the video. Are you out of your bloody mind this morning? Or whenever this was sent? You have got to be crazy. Do not contact me with such foolishness. There's so much wrong with this. 6 houses away. And you think 3-minute ride, nothing can happen? Wow, really? You've got children and you don't know that you can turn your head in 1 split second, something can happen that could jeopardize a child's life? It only takes a second. It only takes a second for kids to drown in the bathtub, to slip and fall, to hit their heads, to get concussions, to get broken bones. We have all seen it. You just turn your back and the child is falling out of the, what do you call the thing that you put them in when you feed them again? The high chair. Child, I used to be so petrified with my daughter because she is so tiny that the high chair never really fit her properly. So I would not leave her for 1 split second because all of a sudden she was trying to stand up. She was sliding through it. I had the seatbelt thing, pulled all the way and she was still so tiny. Don't be ignorant with your children. Now, I like how the child is the one dictating to them what he wants to do in life. Seriously? A young kid is going to tell you he wants to go for a ride so badly, something that jeopardizes his own life, and you think that, oh, that's okay because he wants to do it so badly? Really? That's why y'all don't have no control over your children. When they turn 9, 10, and 11, they're ready full-blooded criminals. Because they've been telling you from day one what they want to do, and you're just going along with it. That's not parenting. You're not here to be your child's friend, giving them what they want and making them happy. And then you have the audacity that you want to know who this person is? You're very lucky that they did not send it, I'm telling you. Because had they sent it to me, number one, we'd be sending it to the police and the MASH unit would be in contact with you. And yes, we would have posted it on social media as well. Cut the foolishness. And then you have the nerve, people must go on and mind people's business. Really? I love how y'all want us to mind our own business until you need the public's help. Your child goes missing because you don't take care of your child. You're leaving doors unlocked. Going out at 2:00 in the morning, smoking your ganja out front, and the child wanders off and gets killed. And then mind your business until you need the public's help trying to locate the child. You see, these are real life situations, folks, that have happened in our small community. You want to make it our business when it's convenient for you to do so. Isn't that really, really rich and interesting? The next example is going to be very, very touchy. Someone sent a message this morning about this young man, Travis. I don't know the young man. Condolences to his family. He was tragically killed at the hands of, some criminal. But someone sent the funeral video and a message saying that someone at the funeral had thrown what they believed, I guess, based on how they were smoking it, to be a spliff into the man's casket. I saw the comments from his sister and others. Y'all need to mind your own business. Well, here's the thing. First of all, I get that this is a very sensitive situation because it's a funeral service. She says, no one would dare disrespect my brother like that. Well, clearly you need to go look at the video because something was thrown in the casket. It might be debatable if it was just a regular cigarette, if it was a spliff or what it was. No one is insulting your brother. The woman who sent it, and by the way, whoever reached out to her, Tomo, what are you messaging Miss Sandy for? Y'all get yourself in trouble with the law if you're not careful. Let me be very, very clear. No one was insulting the deceased. What the point was is this is disrespectful for anybody to go to a funeral, stand up there smoking anything as far as I'm concerned, and then throw it into the casket. That is disrespectful. I'm surprised his sister has taken the position. I don't know her, but I'm very, very surprised that she has taken the position that she has. That it didn't happen, because obviously it did if you go watch the video. And number two, that somehow this is against your brother. It is not against your brother. I'm sure this could have been anybody's funeral, and the point remains the same. Since when did we become so disrespectful at services and at funerals where we do stuff like that? Now, somebody sent me a picture and they said, Sandy, you're wasting your time even asking the question, because I didn't make any judgments on this. I said, what do you guys think? And they sent me a picture of people in front of the church where they had the service, a group of them, all his friends, I guess, and family. I don't know who they were back on, put their fingers up showing the bird. And that was a photo that must have been put on social media for other people to have access to. And I thought, wow, we have no respect anymore. We have lost respect for the living, for the dead, for the comatose, for everybody. I thought, wow, not in a million years would you see people doing this on a church ground, first of all, because you know what the middle finger means. Yeah. And at the service of their loved ones, you cannot be serious. That is, I don't know why it was done. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Is that supposed to mean, like, I don't know. Who is the symbol for? And then when you post it on social media, I hate to tell you, but once again, you're making it other people's business. If you want to keep something private, then don't post it on social media. People are going to be in your business. It's like the teenage girl a couple years ago. I can't remember how old she was then, like 12, 13 years old, having a big time baby shower on school property with her belly as big as it could be and all her friends surrounding her, having a fantastically good time. Right? And then all of a sudden, when people start commenting, oh, mind your own business. Once again, you're having it in a public space. The schools, we all pay for those schools. Yeah. So that is my business. That's my property as far as I'm concerned. This concept of mind your own business is because nobody in this community wants to be held accountable for the direction in which we are going. We've lost our moral compass, right? MPs out here doing the most, beating people up, molesting your children, doing all sorts of stuff, molesting women, the works, and y'all sitting back talking about mind your own business. So let's go back to Charles, because I think it's worth having a look at what Charles had to say on this. Like I said, Charles and I, sometimes he sends me a lot of messages and I got to take my time and get caught up. And I have to admit that evidently I'm still missing some messages. So maybe I won't play those because I haven't heard what they've said yet. He doesn't normally use profanity, so I don't think I have to worry about that. But I want you to hear a little synopsis of some of what he was saying. Siobhan says the moral compass is gone a long time ago. Have a listen to this, folks.
Good morning, Sandy. I got to listen into your show this morning. I've been meaning to send you a message back from the other day when you called me. You know, it's funny. I told you I had just called your name because I was talking to someone and I was just saying to the person how we in Cayman, you know, we don't wish each other well enough. You know, we don't have the best of intentions toward each other. And the person mentioned, you know, because we were talking, you know, about, you know, news and Cayman and the environment. And I said, well, you know, so look at Sandy. I mean, I encouraged her to start Cayman Mile Road, and I actually prayed about it for 3 years. I spent 3 years encouraging her to do it. And that's because I felt like I felt called to do that, to pray for her to do that, and to encourage her to do it. And she was the best person for the job. And, you know, I don't always agree with her, and she don't always agree with me, but she's doing a tremendous job. You know, so that's from the other day. I meant to tell you that. That's all we're talking about you. But next, on to this morning, I was listening to the show about the fentanyl. On to this morning, I was listening about the fentanyl. About a year and a half, 2 years ago now, they caught a guy here in Polk County because they catch a lot of people over here. The sheriff over here, he don't play. Grady Judd, he do not play. And they arrested a guy with 11 pounds of fentanyl. And I read that 11 pounds of fentanyl is enough fentanyl to kill 2-point-something million people. Okay, 11 pounds of fentanyl. That's the kind of damage that fentanyl can do. Now on to Julie. You have to throw it back to the people. What do our people ask for, demand from political leaders? Nothing. People sell their votes for a washing machine, for a few dollars, for a favor. And as I always told somebody last election, when he told me a particular politician asked him, what is your bank account? And the money just started going into his bank account. I told him that the man is already, the man, he's going to sell you. He said, no, he can't. I said, the minute he bought you, he sold you. And that's the problem, Sandy. Our people are just not involved. We heard one lady call this morning and say that our leaders should pay attention to what's going on in the world. No, our people should pay attention and read what's going on in the world. And so we can make better informed decisions. And we can look and say, learn and understand, well, people in other countries are demanding these things, and politicians in bigger countries than ours are doing these things for the interest of the people. Why can't we do it? Why can't it be done here? About the police and their job? Well, Sandy, it's not their country. It's not their country, and many of them are just there to make their money. That's all they're there for. Look around. You remember when police used to pick up people for riding bicycle without light? Now you see people riding motorized scooters on the road with no helmet. Nobody saying anything. You remember when police officers used to be parked off at four-way stops, waiting to catch people blowing the four-way stop? That doesn't happen anymore. There's no policing going on. This is what happens when you have handed off your country to outsiders. When the people you have elevated in your country have no vested interest in your country. When they all have an option to go back to where they come from. Because no matter how bad where they come from is, they're used to it. They can go back and live in it like hog and slop. We're not used to it. And if you remember, I told you a few weeks ago in a message I sent to you that it's only a matter of time before the Cayman Islands is going to be in that list with the Bahamas and Jamaica. Only a matter of time. The Bahamas and Jamaica have other things to attract people. We have nothing. Jamaica got reggae music. bigger country. We don't have anything else to attract people other than the fast fading illusion of security, of safety. Not security, safety. But that is going away because we have entrusted the country to people who have destroyed their own countries. And if I destroy my house, can you trust me to watch over yours? And I won't destroy it too. Anyway, I hope you, Marlon and Gigi, are all doing well. I thank you for your service and continue to do what you can. Sorry, one last thing. Are you talking about sexual, Julie, not juju, not talking about sexual assaults and, come on. Again, it goes back to the people. You have heard, like I have heard, because we have discussed it. We discussed a certain politician the other day. What is his character? What else do we know him for? I mentioned his name to you the other morning already. What else do we know him for? We heard of him. People tell me stories. You understand? People tell me stories. As a matter of fact, there's a member of the LA who tells a story about him. And he told it to 3 different people. And those 3 different people told me. And they didn't tell me at the same time. They all told me at different times. You understand? So we're in trouble. We're afraid of strong people. I've had came on and tell me, Charles, I agree with you, I agree with you, Charles. I agree with you, But what you say is so strong. Don't say it so strong. In other words, don't tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell the truth. Just be a coward. Join with the rest of us. You got to be different. I've had that too. Well, you always got to say something. Well, you got to be different. I've had that question too. Why do you always have to say something? Well, you got to be the one out there speaking. Because our people are afraid. And even God can't find use for cowards. The Bible tells you God don't spit them out of his mouth and cast them into the lake of fire. That's another reason, the Cayman Islands, though we claim to be a Christian society, it's not true. It's a nation of cowards, of people led by fear. And the people led by fear can't know God. Because God is not in fear. Fear is of the devil. The Bible tells us again, I told you the other day, God gave us a sound mind, a spirit of courage, and a spirit of faith, and a sound mind to get things done. The devil operates in fear.
Okay. So let me tell you one thing that I don't agree with up to a certain point is that we can blame the demise of our country on people that we have imported in. Because as a Caymanian, right? I cannot sit back. He's saying people come here, they don't care about our country. Of course not. They have a country to go back to. There's no doubt about that. But how is it that we can sit back and join those people who don't care in our do care attitude as well? That is the biggest problem. There has to be accountability. People come here. First of all, we need to pick better caliber people sometimes that we're importing in. I say this all the time. Whether we're marrying them, we're bringing them here to mind our children, to work in our companies. We have to do a better job just overall of raising the bar of who we are importing into this country. So I understand Charles's point in that regard, but I'm also a firm believer that we are the biggest problem because I see you guys all the time joining in with the foolishness. And I'm just like, oh my God, are y'all serious? Oh, well, Sandy, who cares if she dresses like that and teaches at a school? Who cares if you know she's trying to? I'm like, wow, we have really changed. No standards whatsoever. We adopt every single thing. Y'all talk about. I mean, it's just. But we have to take accountability. When the ish goes down the royal toilets, we're the ones who have to take responsibility for the downfall of our own country. There has to come a point in time when we stop blaming other people. Because if they're doing it, that means that we're allowing them to do it. We have put them in a position to do it, and we're not holding them accountable, and we're not doing anything about it. It's often easy, in fact, to make other people somehow responsible for our actions. That's complete and utter lack of accountability. Why do we import people, whether it's our police force or judiciary, anywhere else, that clearly don't care about the Cayman Islands? And what? We're going to blame them for that? And paying them well, too, to not care. That's our own fault. We need to get it together. Let's read some of your comments. Thank you guys so much. Cameron says higher heights must reach. Siobhan says not disrespectful. It's disgusting and degrading. The person need a box. That person need a box. Miss Dean says children love to explore, not knowing the dangers. That's why they're in the care of adults, right? Everton says, look, I come in sometimes on handicap. I think comment, maybe? Sometimes on handicap parking spot where people park. Oh no, maybe it's come in. And they're not supposed to park there. My saying is this: the shopping center or the storefront that posts handicap parking, only they need to put up a sign. Said an illegal park will fine $500 or they will get the vehicle towed. That will make people think twice. But why do you need to do all that? The handicap sticker tells you you're not supposed to park there if you don't have the respective decal to park there. Additional signage and says that it's a fine of $500 does not deter anyone, because if you disrespect that little sign, the little marker there, you're going to disrespect the other signs as well. Ms. Della, good morning. She says, we had one around here acting the same way. Have not seen it recently. 100% agree with Sandra. Damien says it's also illegal to sit on the sides in the back of a pickup truck. Speaking of which, just yesterday, somebody sent me this photo. Let me show y'all this one too. We minding everybody business. Of some workmen. Hold on now. Not only sitting on the back of a truck, but get this, sitting on a bucket on the back of a truck. And yes, it's illegal to sit on the back of an open truck like this. Not because of RCIPS trying to mind your own business, because there have been one too many fatalities where people have fallen off of the back of an open truck and gotten themselves killed. And so the best thing to do is try to help people from themselves. Like I said, you got to help people. So look at this. He's sitting in an open truck on top of a bucket. All it takes is one good hit on the brakes and that man gone flying off of that thing and getting himself killed. Right? We have so many examples, folks, of these things that unfortunately have cost people their lives and gone wrong. Just yesterday, you saw the flipped over car on West Bay Road heading into West Bay proper. Over the weekend on the bypass, another flipped over car, right? It really doesn't take much on this island, apparently, for y'all to be running into each other and having accidents. You would think the very minimum a person can do is sit properly in a vehicle and put on your seatbelt, make sure your children are properly secured with seatbelts and in a car seat. I'll never forget when Gigi was a baby. Oh my God. She hated being put in the car seat. The second she heard that little click, oh my gosh, she would start crying and pulling at the thing. She wanted to get out. Oh, I don't want to be in here. And I was like, listen to me, honey, Jill. From day one, the first day we brought you home from the hospital, you went in your little car seat. And that is where you're going to stay until you've attained the 40-pound mark. Sorry for you. And only recently, because she's very, very petite, did she finally come out of her car seat. And you know what? We have multiple cars and we had to get multiple car seats. Yeah. One day, this just goes to show you, the good book says, train a child in the way that it should grow and they shall not depart. I was making a quick run up the street to the local food joint, and I put Gigi in the back, and I forgot to buckle her in. She was in the car seat, but she wasn't buckled in. I didn't even pull out of the driveway good. She said, Mommy, you forgot to buckle me in. I said, oh my gosh, let me pull over right now and get this done. The same child who used to fight being in the car seat would cry herself to sleep every single time reminded me that I forgot to buckle her in. When she gets in the back seat, she knows now to take out the seatbelt and buckle herself in. All you have to do is pass on these good habits for safety and the well-being of your children to them, and it becomes second nature. It's not something that is like out of the ordinary. They will do it themselves. Cameron says you're going to have to explain to people until you figure out the meaning of life. Good grief. 90% of the time, says Miss Dean, you don't know when it's going to happen. Hence, it's called an accident. Right? Apparently, Johan must have been saying something about me driving the window down because Jamila says that I'm not going to drive with the window down. I seldom do because I don't want all the noise and smoke pollution coming in the car. Aliano says, no, Miss Sandy, we celebrate slackness, evil, careless, and mindset. We champion the undisciplined, the lowest, and act like it's okay because it's a feature, not a bug. Again, even last week when we were talking about our minister, the number of excuses that I heard to explain away John's behavior for me was just absolutely shocking. And in fact, let me play what Charles had to say in relation to that, because he had some comments about that as well that I recall finding interesting, I think. Can't even remember really. Okay, so he actually messaged me. He started off the conversation, so let's play this one.
Hello, Sandy, darling. Girl, what your minister going on with? He wearing a Rasta wig now. What a clown that is. What a You know what? He's not a clown. We the clown. We the clown. We the clown that he was even reelected after that performance in the last government every day, getting up there to pretending to speak different languages. Oh, we elect a stooge like this to be the leader in the country. Sandy, my dear, I hope you're having a good Friday evening. You drive safe. But girl, let me tell you something. I told you the other day, I don't know if I told you, I think I meant to tell you, I don't know if I told you, but to sit down and draw up the Cayman Islands, you would have to suffer a mind of depravity. You imagine, they're not qualified, so we can't hold them accountable. That's like when a few years ago, Jonathan made a comment about people, we must elect people that are qualified, people with empathy, not just, and he isn't talking about education, but he's talking about people with empathy and people who are honest and have integrity and decency. And one woman responded and said, well, everybody can't have that. Everybody not the same. Everybody don't have that. If you sat down and you drew up the Cayman Islands, you would have to have a mind of depravity. You have to suffer some kind of great depravity. You imagine. And mind you, Sandra, we shouldn't be paying him $12,000 a month to be a clown. You're absolutely right, to be an idiot. Because the joke is on us. And that's what these fools who are defending him don't understand. The joke is on us. Rasta, even if he wanted to put on a shirt with Bob Marley on it, hey, we love Bob, we respect Bob. That would have been fine. But my God, to be out there, the man's a clown, the man's an idiot. But you wonder why we have him? Read the comment section. I know you have. I stand up to someone, I didn't read it, I just looked at him. Person didn't know about Charles, you got to read the comment section. I had to read the comment, I had to comment myself. How to tell these people? The joke is there's nothing for no one with sense is laughing. He's an unfunny clown. I mean, something wrong with our people, girl. Something wrong with our people. I mean, truthfully, Sunday, if our people, sometimes our people don't stand for anything. Because if our people stood for something, Dwayne Seymour would not be reelected. We know the man don't have no integrity. You know the man not honest. How we know? Because we heard his former employees talk about how they were paying. He was taking money from their salary for their pension and not paying it into their pension. So not only was he breaking the pension law, he was not paying pension for them. So not only was he breaking the pension law, but he was actually stealing back from the people he was only paying $6 an hour. Because you know that what he was paying them, we don't need to ask that. You know you're paying the minimum or less. And yeah, I remember I wrote about that on Facebook. And a woman said, but he's not the only one.
Wow.
He's not the only one. You see that again, it goes back to the logic.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, my father, right? God can't help Caymanians. God can't help them because they don't want to be helped.
Mm-hmm.
Something wrong with our people, girl. Something wrong with our people. Mm-hmm. Something is wrong with our people.
My goodness. God can't help us because we refuse to help ourselves. Can you imagine? Wow. Moral compass been gone long time, says Siobhan. Damien says morals, ethics, principles, manners, respect, discipline, everything. Cameron says Anna don't realize that Anna's condoning honey child being all up in Anna's shish. Some of Anna need to STFU too. Ingrid says ignorance is a heck of a thing. These construction workers are always doing that. And also driving with long lumbers hanging out of the trucks without a red cloth. Like I said, we are just breaking laws left, right, and center, whatever. And it's like, mind your business. I think we need a little special effect with the mind of business. Which one goes with it? Let me see now. Let me see if this is one.
Mind your business on aisle 5. We need to mind your business.
That's it. Mind your business. Apparently, that's the excuse for everything these days. Well, all I can tell you is you come to the wrong place if you want people to mind their business. Just says, amen, Charles. Amen. Many thanks. Shaka Zulu says the hiring action officials in the RCAPS obviously had no concern about local law enforcement being actually local. Romeo says, I can't help but think I'm hearing Quincy Brown laughing out loud. Twine gone for true, but speak the truth, bro. Small-minded people can't handle strong people. Don't dim your light for nobody, says Siobhan. They frighten, yes, says Cameron. Damien says, then some dictators destroy their own country and want to point fingers and bully others. Johan talking about anybody that leaves these long messages on people's WhatsApp. Those are multiple messages, Johan. Go calm down now. Calm down and sit in the back of the classroom because you're not paying attention. And you know, they're sensible, so I don't necessarily mind listening to them. I don't always get to listen in real time. So I see there's some that I need to go back from last week and catch up with. Life says true, and as crime gets worse, it won't get better. then because they're used to living in crime where they come from, it's nothing to them. And again, I say, who is to blame for that? We the people, right? Look at the amount of Caymanians who have gotten mixed up in this whole marriage of convenience situation. You know how much time and energy and resources are being used out of the government coffers, WORC enforcement, to try to flush out these marriages of convenience? You can't marry another foreigner for convenience in this country, not an immigration one. So who is doing it? Caymanians or people with Cayman status, which they're Caymanians now. So we have to hold ourselves accountable for the destruction, annihilation of our own country and our own people. And like I said, my God, if you were going to have a situation of convenience, you would think, oh, let me find someone who's going to add value to this country, to me as a person. No, honey, child. Y'all going low, low, low. Let's get the megaphone out. Low to the ground. As low as you can get. Picking up nobody's, no caliber, no decency, no nothing to bring into this country. Sometimes straight up criminals. And then when they start to commit these crimes, bank robberies and all sorts of other stuff, then they're running to HSM law firm talking about they have a right to family life. And guess what? They're winning these lawsuits too. That's the foolishness that we have imported in. I can give you very, very specific examples. Look at this one that we featured on the show, where this young lady, he wouldn't take the young lady home that night. Remember, she came on the show. What is he again? Supposed to be some kind of photographer? Look at all the foolishness that he's been up to. Naked photos of girls. Then that gets leaked, and then he claims he lost his laptop. The dude has killed a man on West Bay Road, parked illegally. Once again, y'all say none of your business. Somebody please remind me of his name because it's not coming to me right now. Parked illegally on the shoulder of the road by the Kimpton, where he's not supposed to be parked. The cyclist was not expecting him to be there and runs right into the back of his Mercedes SUV. You see what happens? Thank you, Alfredo. Mario vibes time. Yeah. Oh, mind your own business, Sandy. He just pulled over there waiting on his mommy because she's the one doing the work. Minding our own business, as y'all would say, because he's parked illegally on the public roadway, cost a man, and from what I understand, a good man, by the way, his life. You see what I'm telling y'all? This is the slackness that happens in this country. Lots of young girls talking about how Mario is targeting them. Sexual predator type behavior. Thank you. Somebody says the gentleman's name was Jeff Corwell. Nothing but positive things about this gentleman out there cycling, enjoying his morning, and then look at how it happened so tragically. Right? Meanwhile, Mario out there trolling your young girls for sex, right? Setting up illegal businesses that he shouldn't even be having, getting young Caymanian fools to marry him, marriages of convenience, and the whole works, right? So he can have this business, having his mother take out his work permit so he can remain in Cayman. Now he finally got his anchor baby with some Caymanian. I think he got two now. Every time he has the baby, allegations about how the baby's not being taken care of, this, that, next thing. I say, what fool would go lay down with this man given his track record? He can't even put on a good event without people complaining about the cancellation of the event, the this and that. This is what we bring to this country, people of that caliber, and can't get rid of them, and they stay here. The system can't get rid of them because they know how to work and abuse the whole thing. That's but one example. Why do we want that caliber of individual here? Look at Renato Harris. He's in jail now, serving a lengthy sentence for rape. The man said to others, oh, this isn't the first time that I've done this. It's the only difference now is finally a victim has said, you're not getting away with this. This was not consensual. I was passed out. I wake up naked in your bed and you admit to having unprotected sex with me. Heck to the no. When she confronts him that morning, what does he then do? The caliber of people that we have brought into this country held her down and sexually assaulted her a second time while she was fully conscious and could now have that memory embedded in her head. At least the incident in the night, she wouldn't have remembered that. She couldn't remember anything. That is the caliber of what we have brought to our shores and have in this country. Yes, and his cockroach-infested apartment down in Swamp. And you guys remember when we were talking about that case, right? His family members and so-called friends all over the thread, all in the live stream. You must mind your own business. It is my business. When you rape somebody in this country, you go to court and you're convicted by a court of law and you get sentenced. That is my business. That is all of our businesses. Because this man had been doing it by his own admittance for years. And you know what his logic was? He was doing it to Spanish women and they never complained. So this is the first Black woman that he did it to. And lo and behold, he ends up in court. Well, kudos to her that she had the courage to know what rape is and to say that this is absolutely deplorable and unacceptable. And she fought for herself and by extension for every woman in this community. And now, at least now, he is going to be locked up for a number of years, not able to rape anybody else. Well, outside of prison. Let me put it that way, because I don't know what they're doing up there in prison. Okay? And after he gets out, they need to have the deportation order ready to go. Oh, but he got children in Cayman with this Cayman in it. Nope. Deport your behind. Your children want to follow you to Jamaica. It's only a 45-minute flight away. They're more than welcome to get on the plane and go right along with you. We have to take a no-nonsense approach to the things that are happening in this country. So listen, I am not going to be insulted. Alex says also had a bad reputation for DJs. Listen, Alex, a lot of it happens. And speaking of which, another one too, speaking of DJs, is what's this other one? We have to do an update because he was sentenced the other day. Glenn Roy. He another one that is shady AF. Y'all better keep your children away from certain people. I can tell you that. We can put up an update on DJ Glenn here shortly. What a mess. I mean, folks, at the end of the day, we have really got to listen. I'm not insulted when y'all say mind your business, mind your own business. I'm just perplexed more than anything else. Now, this concept of mind your business is fine and dandy until you need the help. This is the irony of it. All of a sudden, when y'all need some, oh my gosh, it is so funny that my little friend here got to say the same thing that I was just about to say. She's known me over 25 years now. So she must have known where I was going next. These are the same people when they need something, they run into CMR to help them. But wait, didn't you tell us to mind our own business? See what this person just said? The same one saying mind your business is still in CMR trying to read and listen about other people's business. Only when it affects them or someone they know, then it's an issue. Or they know they're doing the same BS. So of course they want you to mind your business. Yes. But when they need the help, guess what? They can find me too. And here they come. Need your help now. Can you help me? But wait a minute. Thought you said to mind my business. So now that principle does not apply anymore? That is very peculiar. Okay. I see how this works. It's very, very subjective. It's what you guys want. Well, that's not how it works. So yes, there will be times that things are posted on CMR that you don't like and you don't agree with. That's life, honey child. You know, I look at the Miami papers and the New York papers and all this kind of stuff all the time, and there are things that I don't like either. And I have the option to keep scrolling. And in that moment, I can just mind my business. Touche. And keep scrolling and don't worry about it. The slackness level is just next level, if I had to be honest. I tell you. Cameron said on a short today, not Friday. No, honey, Jill. There's just so many examples of like the foolishness that on a regular basis, you know, my brain is just like, oh my God, like seriously? Listen, you know, y'all saw this very serious accident on West Bay Road yesterday where the car overturned. Totally crazy. There was also a suicide yesterday, and I want to talk about this now because this is such a sad situation. My understanding is that this man had an injury a few years ago where he broke his legs in some sort of an accident. And looks like he might have been suffering from some sort of a depression. And so unfortunately, yesterday, he decided to take his own life. He hung himself. He waited. My sources say he left out, but he was really waiting for the wife to leave. And then once he knew that she was gone, he went back to the house. Didn't want to do it while she was there. My God, I can't even imagine. And so it's so ironic because just on Monday, I was saying that, you know, people go through different things. We process different situations differently. If you notice, and sometimes there's an incident that will trigger a depressive episode, right? So the loss of like a loved one. People struggle with these things. And I think the people around them, quite fittingly with the whole mind your own business theme, have a responsibility to notice when somebody needs help. Sometimes they themselves don't know how bad the depression is, right? They're not themselves. Somebody said he didn't used to like hold conversations like how he did before. Maybe he's not sleeping well, he's not eating, whatever. You have got to recognize that something is different about this person. And it's different in a chronic way. And he or she needs someone to talk to. They need some professional help. Sometimes you have got to reach out to the mental health professionals on behalf of other people. Because they themselves are in it, but they don't know that they're in it. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, right? Not everyone has the self-awareness to know when they need help. So please, husbands, wives, even, you know, adult children, if you notice your own children or somebody else's child seems like they have a problem, it would be worth it to not mind your own business and be overprotective, overcautious, as opposed to saying, oh my God, I wish I had said this. I wish I had stepped in. I wish I had recommended counseling. I wish I had done something. I saw that his niece commented on the post yesterday. We didn't actually say in the social media post that it was a suicide. We just said that a man was found unresponsive, but no foul play is suspected. It was so interesting because it was right after the show. I was leaving out and I saw an ambulance passing me on, where did the ambulance pass me? I can't quite remember now, but it passed me, I think before I got to Linford Pearson. And then not long after that, or maybe I was already at Linford Pearson when it passed me. And then not long after that, I was closer to the airport. And I saw then that 2 fire rescue vehicles were leaving the fire station by the airport and heading up east as well. So unfortunately, this happened in the Beach Bay area. Folks, by minding other people's business, by being your brother's keeper, right? You could save somebody's life. So I beg you sometimes to intervene. It's not all about, one of the things, I lived in States, as you guys know, for some 15 years. And in America, for the most part, people mind their own business, although these Karens recently have changed that dialogue. But for the most part, people mind their own business. It's very sad because you don't know who your neighbors are. You don't know what's going on. Like, next thing you know, you got a serial killer next door and you're like, oh, wow, I never even knew that. Because you just don't know people in your apartment buildings, your complexes, whatever. Because people there just don't take the time to even say good morning, right? That should not be who we are. We need to be checking in on each other. Good morning, caller.
Sandy.
Hello there.
You've forgotten about me?
No, where have you been though?
No, if I may,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't necessarily like to put this in the same category
Mm-hmm.
as what I'm about to say,
Mm-hmm.
but mental illness, suicide
Mm-hmm.
is that taboo, is the taboo, like talking about rape, incest, cancer, a number of things. I could go on for, a little while about it.
Yes.
It's just a taboo, and people are not comfortable to speak on it, or they don't know how to approach it or approach the person or persons. Mental illness is something that is very widespread.
Mm-hmm.
I deal with it myself, depression.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand if you've never experienced depression, other people don't understand, nor do they really, or should they really understand, unless they do some research.
Yes.
But when you get into a place, what I call the black hole, the pain that one experiences is like any other pain a human life experiences. You can't touch it, you can't cure it, you can't hug it, you can't hold it, you can't say it's okay, because it's not. And people just don't understand the pain someone is in. And we can look at these people walking among us with happy faces, some of them, that you'd have no idea, but then there's those as well that you can tell something's wrong, something is off. And when you see those people, you definitely want to reach out to them and say, hey, how are you today? Or, hey, do you need a hug? Anything.
Yes.
And as long as we keep turning the blind eye on mental illness, rape, child abuse, incest, just abuse in general, cancer, and again, the list goes on, we will continue having these people being in the position lost. They're not strong enough to have the voice. So we have to be the voice for them.
Yes.
That's all I can say. I just hope, I'm sorry for the family. I'm sorry for the people who have lost loved ones due to suicide. But again, when you get into that dark place, people, you just don't understand what it's like.
Yes. Thank you.
It takes everything for power to dig out of that dark place.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And it takes a very bold person to call on the program and to say, hey, I suffer from depression. I suffer from mental health. we definitely need to normalize these conversations. Like I said, sometimes it's, a chemical imbalance. It's someone who's always suffered. They definitely show evidence of it running in families. People have suffered from it from teenage years or maybe even younger. And it helps if you can identify, again, as an outside person, that something isn't right. We need to seek mental health professionals, mental health care. When I was at the Alex Panton Foundation on Saturday, Miss Jean Panton was saying how in their case, they didn't recognize that their son was depressed. They thought he was being a rebellious teenager. And just, as teenagers can be, they misunderstood the behavior. They didn't recognize it. And I would probably say that that's probably more common than you think. And as Caribbean people, a lot of us haven't accepted, as this caller rightfully said, what mental illnesses look like, what they are. And so we never want to accept that our children might have an issue that requires a professional. We're going to beat it out of them. That's what Caribbean people believe. I'm going to beat the devil out of you. You can't beat depression out of somebody. You can't beat bipolarism out of someone. And so it's never a comfortable conversation because, again, I'm so glad that he talked about himself. But, I have seen people, and I'm not a qualified mental health professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I have dealt with people who are bipolar. I know what the signs are. I know what to look like, just like I know a lot of narcissists. And I tend to pick up on narcissism very, very well. And I've heard people even call in this program, and you might have heard me say, you know what? I've said it to them, so I can say it again. I think you're bipolar and you need to get professional help. Remember the last time George called in and I said to him, George, please go talk to a mental health professional. And he's like, well, I'll do it. I'll do it if you think I should. I'm like, it's not about me. Something needs a professional here. If I had to put the farm on it, I would say that you're bipolar. The manic phases for him last a while, though. He goes through being manic for years, and then he goes into very deep dive depression for years. I was really, really saddened to hear the other day that he's back in a depressive state. That's why they disappear. You're not going to hear anything from him now until he reemerges. And then fortunate thing is, because of the society that we live in, not willing to look at these things from a clinical perspective, he's going to reemerge and said, oh, the Lord brought him back out of it. This thing got nothing to do with the good Lord. God helps those who help themselves. Get professional help. That is the cycle of being a bipolar individual. Seek professional help. Somebody mentioned Quincy as well. Well, he was on the platform on Saturday and he talked about his bipolarism. Looks like he's in a better place at this time, this week, taking his medication. He's at a halfway house. He says he's off of the drugs. One of the things that you have to be careful with is sometimes people have a mental health problem that is compounded by other things as well. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Sandy. That caller was on point, and yes, thanks. I volunteer here with a place, UK Mind, MIND, and UK Age, and to tell you the truth, a lot of times all you could hear, you just it's phone call volunteer where you slot yourself a couple hours a week to talk to people that and Sandy, it hurts you when you hear them out of a lot of the age group, age meaning the senior citizens, they are so lonely. And even being so lonely, they're still thinking, well, they want to end their life. They wanted this, they wanted that. And you know, sometimes I hear him say things, and I really can't relate to it on a personal level, like you say, but they always and this caller that this call could probably say, or who, if you want to say,
Mm-hmm.
they say that it's a feeling of numbness.
Mm.
Now they say they get so numb
Mm-hmm.
that they feel like, you know, they can't get up, they can't sit down, they can't, you know, all of that. And especially when it's winter time, you get a lot of them that just want to end their life. Now
Mm.
I say that to say this, you know, me personally, like on my regular ones that I call, I've had like two occasions where I could identify over the, because they train you, you get like basic training, of course, and you identify what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one case where I called a lady and she was always like happy to hear from me and stuff like that. And she keep referring to, oh, this is the last day for this and the last day to do this. And I said to her, yeah, why you keep saying it's your last day, whatever.
Mm.
Anyway, I remember in the training then, and then you
Mm-hmm.
call and you get help. And you know, she was on the verge of doing that, is what she told me after, you know,
Mm.
because she said that they're so cold, they can't get out, they can't this, they
Mm-hmm.
can't that,
Mm-hmm.
and they just feel like the solution is to end themselves. So,
Mm.
you know, even picking up the phone, I said that to say this, picking up the phone, if you don't see something like back home, we'll see a lot of people, like older people especially. I kind of drawn to older people, to be honest with you. And you may not see them in the shop, you know, they might go out and you don't see them in a while, you know, communicate with them, because we don't know what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And even though all of us have some type of extended family or whatever back home, it's still worth it, you know, it's still worth it to call them up and you know, talk to them or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, young and old, but particularly I'm used to
Mm-hmm.
working with the older one. So yeah, it is real. I never realized how real it was until I come here and you see how people moods change
Mm-hmm.
and how their behavior. And the good thing about here, they'll openly tell you, listen, I'm suffering from XYZ. So you kind of like know, you know, what to look for in a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is
I'm
a
glad that that whole
seasonal.
thing.
Yeah, there is a seasonal depression as well. I forget what the proper name for it is. I think it's
Yeah, it is.
SAD
Yeah, it
is what
is
it's called.
exam protection.
But yeah, very, very sad. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
caller.
All right. Good. Bye.
Um, so it becomes so much more complicated when a person has, you know, say for example, bipolarism coupled with narcissistic personality disorder, and then you throw in drug addiction. I was saying to someone this weekend that it becomes like a vicious loop, right? Because when they're trying to get help for, say, for example, the drugs, and they're able to stay on the bipolar medication, which you should know that bipolar medication, getting it just right, is one of the most difficult things in the world. I had the privilege of attending some training many, many years ago when I was in the States. And they were talking about how, from a medical perspective, they're trying to reach this balance of tweaking it for the individual, but it can be extremely difficult to do so. So you might go through years of not having the medication quite right to balance you where you need to be. And unfortunately, you know, you have the highs and lows of being bipolar. And in fact, one of the most dangerous times for someone who's bipolar is not when they're in the depressive state, but when they're in the manic state. They're more likely to commit suicide in the manic state. Now, I know that sounds sort of counterintuitive in a way. When you think about it, you're like, but if you're manic, you're happy, you're on top of the world. But that's exactly the problem. They are on top of the world and they feel like they're invincible and nothing can stop them. So jumping off of a building, they're like, oh, I can fly. And they're going to jump off a building. Of course, human beings can't fly. So you know how that's going to end. So there are some dangers in people who are even in the manic stage. And this is why, you know, you've got to really pay attention. And people need to get professional help. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Morning, dear.
The caller before this, Miss Darlene, is 100% correct. Some people go through, as you said just now, manic depression. Some people are on medications, have medications adjusted, and they still fight those thoughts. There was a point where last year, twice, I saw no other solution but to attempt to commit suicide. Thank God that I was found before it happened. But that dark place that he was talking about is a very serious place to be in, because you are fighting your own mind, which is what is supposed to help you find clarity. And you get to a point where no matter who you talk to, what help you get, sometimes those thoughts just do not go away. I suffer from severe depression and anxiety. And those that goes along with insomnia. It's a vicious cycle. The anxiety keeps your mind racing constantly, worrying about things. And then that triggers insomnia, where you're up sometimes 24, 48 hours with these things on your mind. When your body gets so tired of that, it leads to depression. So anxiety and depression has a vicious cycle. You can be, let's say you wake up this morning and you're in good spirits. And for me, my anxiety is trying to go into my place of employment because it is so toxic. And I have reached out to everyone that should be able to help. Last year, I was off majority of the year because of dealing with my mental health, because of the suicide attempt. And I'm still doing counseling. I'm still on medication. And just when I thought, okay, I'm kind of got my feet on the ground, I am set to do a medical board. I've been told that all that time is going to come out of my pay, which means I'm going to end up losing my house. I have reached out to my chief officer who is looking into this. And I thank God for him. I've reached out to Mr. Panton as well, but I never heard back from him. This is something that's been where employees aren't able to speak up, whether it's private or government. And in my department, it is not only me, but I speak up, and I speak up for myself because I've been through years of discrimination at my employment. And that is the number one reason for my depression and my anxiety. That, and also the loss of so many friends during COVID here and in the States, my schoolmates. Right now, we just lost 3 schoolmates back to back. And I'm fighting to get ready to go into that place this morning. So, we smile, we joke, and we laugh. But let me tell you something, that is just a mask for what we are going through. Whether you're bipolar, you're manic depressive, OCD, anything that has to do with mental health is a terrible thing. Because the mind that is twisted and so forth is the same mind that usually you'll think, okay, well, I'll do this and this and this, but you can't even think what to do. Much less sometimes you don't even want to get out of bed because you don't want to face anything, anyone. And then you're also tired from the anxiety and the insomnia keeping you up. What saved me is my dogs, because they're like my kids. So
thank you,
I just want to put that piece out there, and whoever knows my voice, I'm saying to you, and I've said to several people, do not be ashamed to talk about your problem. Do not be ashamed to go get help. Because the longer you take to go and get help, the worse it will be. There's no magic pill. There is no magic pill for anxiety. There's no magic pill for depression. But combine them with counseling, it helps you. And I'm 49 years old, so it's not just youth.
Yes.
It's not just invalid people. I am a functioning mental health person.
Thank you
so I just wanted to say that. And God bless everyone. And before you get to that point, because I used to wonder what would make someone do that to themselves.
Yes.
Until I was in that position.
Right.
God bless you, Sandy, for everything you do. All my CMR family, God bless you and have a good day.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Wow. 9362626. I want to say thank you to that caller and the gentleman, because it isn't easy dealing with these issues, and in a community like Human that can be so judgmental, it is infinitely harder to come forward and say #MeToo. So I thank that caller. I'm aware of some of her struggles, but even today, as I was listening to her, there are things that I heard that I didn't know. And so this is the point, really, is that a lot of times you don't know what's going on with a person. So we've all been in a situation where you hear that someone has committed suicide and you're like, why? Like, what? That person had such a great life and this and that. And it's because you just don't know what people are going through. So I thank those callers immensely for sharing very, very personal information. That last caller has pointed out some of the problems inherently in the systems that we have, right? Mental health, like you can't, even in the States since COVID, they've recognized a lot of people need to take what they call PTOs, personal time off. Most companies in Cayman don't have that. You get your public holidays, you get your 10 days sick leave, and there's no availability of PTO. I have known people who I'm thinking of a young lady who lost her grandmother and was going through quite a bit because of that and needed some mental health care. And she ended up losing her job at a local law firm because they're like, oh, you're taking too much time off. How can you, you give somebody the 4 or 5 days required by law, right? That she took the grieving time, 4 or 5 days to grieve someone that has been there your entire 35 years of life or whatever. You might need a little bit more time than that. She was having some mental health issues. She needed counseling, whatever. And it's like they didn't want to work with her, someone who had been such a good employee for many, many years, end up leaving this job because, they were essentially pressuring her in relation to her mental health and the time off that she needed. So this is real. Not having health insurance coverage to cover counseling sessions that you may need, right? Having employers who are not going to work with you, who are not sensitive to what a person with mental health might be going through. It's a very, very sad situation. And as I was saying, unfortunately for some people, it is then compounded by other things, drug use, narcissistic behavior. So they get in a worse loop that, it's like when they come out, then they have to be the showman and get on stage and perform. And the irony of that is part of what then puts them back into the bad place of where they just come out of. And people don't see that. Sometimes you've got to know that, you got to get to some of the underlying issues and stuff as well. You'd be surprised the number of people that are suffering from depression and bipolarism and other mental health issues and haven't put it together with the fact that they were molested as children, that they suffered childhood traumatic events, right? And if we were to have a real conversation, a lot of people who fall into that category, it stems from something that happened to them early on in life. Trauma isn't something that you can just cover up. You can try, but it's always going to find a way to manifest itself. It's important for us to have these conversations, folks. There's nothing wrong with people being depressed. There's nothing wrong with people being diagnosed and being bipolar. You just have to try to get the mental professional help that you need. It's so incredibly sad every time we have to talk about somebody taking their own life. And despite that, I see people in the comment section. I think they know better now on my show than to come with it. But they're in there, but this person could go to hell and godness. I'm like, listen to me. Please go sit your behind down. Okay? It's a sin. The Bible says, I don't give two cahoots what you claim the Bible says about suicide. If someone has cancer and they die from cancer, are you saying that they're going to go to hell because they died from cancer? Mental health is no different. It is an ailment. It is not something that people have any control over. And if it drives them to the point of suicide, if you believe in a God, you think that God would actually penalize someone who took their own life because they were clinically depressed? It even defies logic. It doesn't make any sense. Someone who can't help themselves. To that caller and all of you who might be sitting back thinking about this morning, I want to say that there is help out there. And I've said it before, when you're in that really, really dark place, I've never suffered from depression, so I can't say that I speak from experience, but I just want to encourage you to always find some reason to give yourself more time. Give myself 10 minutes, 15 minutes more, see how I feel. And then at the end of that, give yourself 15 more minutes and more and more and more. And get the help. Take the time that you're buying for yourself to actually get the help that you need. Good morning, caller.
Sandy, good morning.
Morning. Just turn down your background radio for me. Thank you. Morning.
Listen, they have a word to say. Who feels it knows it. That lady that calling, she know what she's talking about. I don't want to cry. I've been there. Even when I was home, I end up in Georgetown Hospital. I'm not ashamed to say. And it wasn't anything serious. I wasn't starving. My children wasn't starving. But something just flipped. And I do what I had to do. I wouldn't be here today. So it came, and you know what happened? It's too much pride. Mental health is not something for anyone to laugh or make mock up with anyone. It is an illness, and you don't even know when it is coming on sometimes. So that lady know what she's talking about. And people need to step up. You need help, go out and talk to someone. Because I can tell you it is a serious illness. It is. So all who sit back and thinking about, oh, they're mad, they're this, they're that. No. If it happened to them, they will feel it and they will know the difference. They will know what it is like. And that's all I have to say. I can't say too much more because I don't want to cry.
Thank you so much, Colin.
Okay, you all take care at home. You all take care.
Okay, my dear.
Love
Thanks.
you all.
Yes, thanks
Bye-bye.
very much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
936-2626. Callers calling from overseas on this discussion. You can certainly call on the WhatsApp line, which is toll free, no cost to that. Like she said, those who feel it know it, and I guess that has to be a very, very true statement. Ascot345 on Instagram says facts. Men's mental health is serious. And I mean, it's hard enough to talk about mental health generally, but it is 50 times as difficult for men in particular to speak about their own mental health, because we have, again, stigmatized men, put them in a box where they have to be macho man and they have to be like the guy from the A-Team, Mr. T, macho and whatever. They don't talk about their feelings. They have to be very stoic, and all of that is just wrong. If men are sensitive and they cry and they talk about their feelings, we want to label them as, oh, you're so soft and you're a sissy and you're this and you're that. And nothing could be farther from the truth. So I think as a community, we have to start normalizing not just conversations around this. Somebody mentioned that June is mental health month for men. But we have to normalize conversations around this for everyone. For children, allow your children to talk about their feelings when they're upset. If they want to cry, just give them the space to do it. We need to talk about mental health and I wish I had that clip now to play from the Ormond Panton series. Because when I get it, I've been chasing it up. When I get it, you're going to see the story that Dr. Nathaniel spoke about is intertwined with his great-grandfather's mental health issues. So here was a man who was brilliant, spoke 6-7 languages, but back then, they called it something different. They didn't have proper names for it. But now his great-grandson, who's a professor of history, can look at it and say, my grandfather suffered from what we would call today bipolarism. Back then, they're like, oh, when you talk to people in the family, the elders, they're like, oh, yeah, he had a little touch of something. They didn't even know kind of how to categorize it, what to call it. Because, when you were born in the 1800s, yeah, you were expected to get on with life, regardless of what your circumstances were. And so for his great-grandson to acknowledge that he suffered from mental health issues, and despite that, he still, did some very, very interesting things with his life. It's a story that you have got to hear. The way in which it was delivered was just phenomenal, I must say. But I'm hoping that we can have the clip to play for Friday's show, because you guys will absolutely be blown away by the story. But we have to normalize the conversation, right? And it was so interesting because as I sat there listening to it, I could identify other people in our community who are intellectually brilliant people who I thought to myself, I recognize some of those same traits in them as well. And I wonder, they were sitting in the audience, quite ironically enough. And I had to wonder if they themselves were thinking, wow, that sounds awfully like me. That sounds a lot like who I am, like me. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it, folks. You got to be willing to talk about it. But again, we're a product of our environment. We grow up in an environment where you don't talk about how you feel. We tell our children, don't speak until you've been spoken to. What does that even mean? So if nobody ever speaks to your children, they're not permitted to speak? They don't have a voice of their own? Like, it's just so crazy how we have taken really what is a product of being subverted and being enslaved and continued to perpetrate those ideas from one generation to the next and onto our children. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Miss Sandy.
Hi there. Good
Enjoying
morning.
your Wednesday.
Thank you, my dear.
I'm sorry I didn't get the call after Miss Darlene, but I was just bashing Mr. Sanders yesterday on the other talk show, so we do that for another time. But I am a registered voter in Dept, and I have
I can barely hear you. It looks like the connection's a little bit. Just speak up a little bit for me. Let me see if we can get a better understanding there.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there's a little something on the line, but
okay. I've spoken to the representatives of Bordentown, trying to get a daycare in Bordentown for the seniors. This has a lot to do with the elderly people, because a lot of the older people or the younger people cannot take care of seniors or their elderly like they would. And it's nothing wrong with finding a daycare to take these people, drop them in the morning, at least 6:30, 7 o'clock, have them there, mingle with their friends, talk, bring back memories. And this will help a lot with the older people in the community. I'm not sure why they don't want to help the older ones. I mean, I know definitely there's a lot of people that would volunteer, and I don't see why we can't find a daycare center in Bordentown for the seniors or the elderly. They, they sit down, they can play games, they have their little rooms, they can mingle with their age groups and stuff, bring back memories, talk about the good old days, which I know the people that are coming in now wouldn't know anything about the good old days when the Bordentown, Savannah, Lower Valley people and Breakers people were there, because they're all fading and going into the cemeteries, dying and off. And, it's hard, but I think a lot of that will bring back memories of the good old days. And this is exactly what we need to do. Every politician come in, they promise. I heard Mr. Sanders yesterday talking about what he promised. It's only promises. Every 4 years, you never see them. When it's time for election coming up, they get on the radio and they tell you, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to pass this law, they're going to do this.
Right.
You got to wait till 4 years come, and then you get in. You never remember. You never mingle with the people. You never knock on their doors. Well, I'm like you. I don't eat fruitcake from any and everybody, and I'm not easily bought.
Amen.
So, I'm hoping and praying that whoever getting for Bordentown West will do something for the people of Bordentown and even the people in Bordentown East, because it has been needed for years. It has been needed for years. And that's like what I said. A lot of people cannot afford to get helpers to take care of their people. They have to pay pension. They have to pay insurance. And the Caymanians are hurting. He told me yesterday that there should not be any poor people in Cayman. Well, you know what? If he was to come out of his house or mingle with the people, he would see where the poor people is.
I mean,
anyway, we're going to do that.
Honey child. We'll leave that for another day.
Thank you. Thank you for
so
listening.
much.
Have a good day.
Okay, darling.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, because a lot of these MPs, they full of jokes. They only come out now because they see their numbers sliding, because we've been telling y'all the cold, hard truth about them, and y'all are actually paying attention. So some people know, including Mr. Saunders, that he's in trouble come election time if the right person runs against him. And when I say the right person, I don't mean Mr. Frederick. Please, Mr. Frederick, I don't have nothing against you, Vincent, but please do not let any political party like the PPM set you up last time, gave you a couple $1,000s to run against Chris Saunders, because somebody like you can't beat him. Okay? You can't even get up on a platform and have a decent meeting. So let's be honest now. We're going to call a spade a spade. We need a professional to go up against the likes of Chris Saunders to be able to take him out. But somebody who's not just a professional, somebody with integrity and who actually cares about the people of this country. Chris Saunders was deputy premier when he had the most power to do a lot of things, and sit back and ask yourself, what was he doing? Miss Hilda says toxic workplaces are also a major contributor to poor mental health. Most certainly. Hunter says toxic work environments have made it as far as the government building. It's so sad and so wrong. Where is this country going? Hunter, that they've made it as far, you mean that some of them actually started with the government building? If you only knows what happens in government, they need to take a much bigger stand against internal bullying within the civil service. They need to take a much stronger stand, standing up. You know, Mr. Franz Manderson talking about his world-class civil service. Well, he needs to start standing up for a lot of his civil servants who are being bullied. That is one of the reasons why I stand before you and tell you Chris Saunders should never be elected again, because he was bullying the female workers, the female civil servants in his department. And because they are afraid to speak up for fear of losing their jobs, that's why I sit here and remind you guys of it as much as I can. He was tormenting those poor women. Had the audacity to say, oh, would you like me to stop asking you for sex? And when they would say yes, he would tell them, no, it's not going to stop. WTF. They said that in the hood are frightened because it could never be me. I would knock his lights out. You hear me? But not everybody is the same. And I'm not going to victimize the victims. I'm going to let you guys know what the perpetrator was like. These MPs, boy, I tell you, some of them really grate my soul. Cameron says all these traits are evident from early years. Teachers, aka caretakers, where are they? Well, I can tell you what, Cameron, most of them are not qualified to be able to recognize mental health issues. And this is why, as parents, it really is your primary job to know your children. And if you see a change in their behavior, by all means, pay attention. I had a little girl yesterday. I was so upset by this phone call, 12 years old. And I'm going to get some more information on where we are with this situation. But a school teacher told the bus warden and the bus driver not to allow this girl on the bus because she had swimming, and somebody removed her school shirt out of her bag. So she didn't have her school shirt to put back on. Another friend had given her a wet shirt to put on, and she wasn't comfortable with that. So they refused to allow her to get on the bus and left the 12-year-old child up at Clifton Hunter stranded. You talking about the mental health? Some of the schools and the school administrators are part of the problem with why your children are having mental health issues. This little girl got on a three-way call with her father and me, and you had to hear the tears and this little child's voice shaking and how upset she was. And she still was stuck up there after 5 o'clock at Clifton Hunter trying to get a ride home. Listen to me. I do not believe in physical violence in any way, shape, or form, but I can tell you one thing. The day an adult did something like that to my child, I would need to see you. And you better step off of school property, because I'm going to give you one BIT lick upside your head. How can you do that to a 12-year-old child? What if something had happened to that child? There's too much slackness that is going on, and you need to look at the surroundings that you have put your children in. They're being bullied sometimes by adults in the schools, not just their own peers. Damien says, why is it that we're seeing more and more Caymanians with mental health problems? I think they've always been there. It's just that we didn't know sometimes what it was. Back in the day, you're like, oh, this person's just special or whatever. Now we're more apt to be able to get a proper diagnosis. This person says, good morning, Sandy. Kaboom to that. Kaboom! Some of the schools are why some of her children are depressed. This person says he was busy feeling up the ladies at work. Another person says, many people are silently struggling. Life has been so unkind lately. Even when people ask for help, they're not supported. Oh my gosh. My sweet mom passed away in August, and I was so consumed by grief, I had to resign my job in December. Sandy, can you action the voters to make a list of their needs and wants for each electoral district? What a mess. Hold on, honey child. I got somebody at the front door. Hi, good morning.
Yes, Miss Sandra, I'm here.
Okay, just go around the side, right to the left. Go on through.
Okay.
All right, my dear. Thanks. Got a little workman doing something for me. Yes, thank you so much for that suggestion. I think it's a good one indeed. This person says that hurt me so much about the child, but I tell you, I would go to that school and rip that damn teacher's throat out. Boy, let me tell you something. No, son. Now you know why parents feel the need to have to pick up their kids. You can imagine leaving a 12-year-old stranded like this. My God. This is a show phone. I don't know. Oh. What a hot mess. Oh my goodness. Hi. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks. Hunter says you're a strong caller to the female caller earlier. Talk to people who care, says Cameron. It takes a very strong person to break out. Stay strong. Again, Cameron, that was Hunter, sorry. And Cameron says, thanks for your call, Mama. Ms. Dean says, yes, caller truth. I feel your pain, my sister. I watch my brother like a hawkeye. I hardly get 3 hours sleep at night. It's a tough, dark place and situation. My brother doesn't even want to go outside, and he is now 50 years old. So sad. Everton says, the question that I'd like to ask Sandy is if you're in a toxic environment, whether it's a workplace or a relationship, the conversation needs to focus on that. How can you get out of it? My saying is that if you're working in a toxic environment, can you get another job and leave? Or if you're in a toxic relationship, maybe it might be difficult for you to get out of it because you depend on the other person. And sometimes people like to keep you in a chokehold that you depend on them so that you can't leave. Well, I mean, the real situation, you heard that caller talking about the fact that, losing her house is a possibility. Nobody wants to be homeless and out on the streets. So I guess she needs that job until they can either medical board her or something. So Cameron says to post the hotline. So we showed that yesterday and I re-aired it again last night. The interview about the kids hotline. So please do have a look at that. It was just unveiled on Saturday at the Alex Panton Foundation. The most interesting thing, obviously, is that is a resource for others as well, but that's really a kids helpline. So the question becomes, what about adults? Who are you going to call if you have mental health issues? Very, very sad. Ay. All right. Hilda says, I'd say work on an exit plan while you're at the toxic job. You're looking for alternative employment and find someone to talk to alleviate the pressure of working in a toxic environment while you're waiting for the new job to come. Same goes for the toxic relationship. Find ways to make and save extra money to help you escape and start a new life. I mean, absolutely. I would encourage anyone to get out. Staying in that environment is certainly not going to be what is good for your mental health, right? Ms. Brenda says back in the day, it was referred to as having a nervous breakdown. What a mess. Live says send that person a card, invite someone over for dinner, take them on a local trip with you, ask if they need something from the shop and purchase it for them, have small talk. Hunter saying legalizing the herb is going to help. Buenos dias to Miss Alba. Cameron says, I'm embarrassed for us when it comes to our mentality. Very, very sad. What a mess. Post the hotline. Ms. Hilda says, yes, childhood trauma that was repressed and now manifesting in adulthood. Orville, good morning. Says, I was diagnosed with manic depression, psychosis, bipolar, and thank God I'm blessed to have dad that have mental training and experience with people that have mental health issues and wind me off of the medication until I'm now back to my sound mind. What a hot mess. Shaka Zulu, thank you. Hunter says, as someone who has had mental health in the past, I can tell you the grass is greener on the other side. It may seem difficult now and almost as if it will never end, but you have to keep fighting. Think about all the ones that love you and have some faith in God that you will get through. Unfortunately, I have to go, but this was an amazing topic. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you, Chantel. Says that we would all be in jail for whip that person would get. Trust and believe. Ms. Brenda says, Sandra, I keep telling you that their teachers are the biggest problem with their children. They know what's going on and keep adding fuel to the fire. They don't care about our children. They're getting paid regardless of how they turn out. And they should get paid according to the results they produce. Well, I should remind you that not only are they getting paid, but under Juliana O'Connor Conley, she said, let's give them a pay increase, not because of the results that they were getting, but just because. So now they're all making at least $5,000 a month. What a hot mess. Miss Sue says, oh my God, that's terrible to do that to a young girl. God, they wouldn't get away with that if it had been my child. Trust and believe me. That poor child was crying. Damon says, no empathy. The BBC needs to be fired, says Irvelyn. Yep. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Morning, Jim. What a hot mess. Please check out when you have a moment. You sent me a PM. Okay. All right. Let's move on. So we're going to do, yes, thank you, Shaka Zulu. Says, give props to all that called in and express themselves with regard to their own personal mental health struggles. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's move on and just give you a bit of a synopsis. So we're going to do the court update now. And then we're going to, gosh, it's almost 10 o'clock already. Oops, sorry. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. How do I get out of here? So I'll give you a synopsis of the ongoing case. Now, remember the rules, folks. I am just giving you what transpired in court. We're not going to entertain any commentary on the matter. It's an active case with a jury, so we don't want to, get into anything that might impact them. So let me see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, so yes, no comments about this. Okay. So yesterday, this is the trial now, day number 2, trial of Mr. McKeeva Bush. So the Crown called their first witness, which is a detective. I forget his name. It's spelled T-H-E-R-E, but it's pronounced some other way. So he was on the stand pretty much all day yesterday and basically going through the video footage of what transpired. Now, the allegations against Mr. Bush is in relation to 2 women. One is a journalist, both civil servants, ironically enough, and the other one was actually working the event on the night of the Caribbean conference. So one of the charges relates to one person, victim number 2, we'll call her, and that one wasn't caught on CCTV footage because there's actually a blind spot in the hall there at the Ritz-Carlton. But the other one now was caught on video, but there's no audio. So of course you have to look at it and, So they went through the video step by step. The detective explained what is alleged to have occurred. And so the allegation with this particular individual is unwanted sexual touching. And in fact, apparently, her husband was actually at the event that evening as well. And Mr. Bush is alleged to have made the comment that, "Oh, look at your husband over there. What would he have to say?" Basically, knowing that I'm over here allegedly assaulting you. And at one point, you see in the video, the husband actually walks up to the 2 of them. I think that he sensed or something that his wife was in distress, allegedly. And so he came up and tried to, you can see the body language. It's so interesting when you have no audio, what you can pick up on in terms of body language. So this is the Crown's case. They've just started it in earnest. He assaulted 2 female civil servants. The footage shows that both women were in the presence of Mr. Bush. This was when he was Speaker of the House back in 2022. He's accused now of indecently touching them. The Crown says that the second complainant was assaulted off camera in a blind spot. And I thought it was so interesting that there could be any blind spots at the Ritz when you think about it. But, design of buildings and stuff, I guess they didn't anticipate anything like this ever happening. My understanding is they have since fixed that particular blind spot. So Detective Russell Thies, I think is how he pronounces it, he drafted the warrant to retrieve the footage from the Ritz-Carlton, and he was responsible then for putting it together for the court. And he says that it shows Mr. Bush arriving and greeting the first complainant, who was at the event in her capacity as a government worker, and how he touched her despite her efforts to pull away. The video shows Mr. Bush holding onto or retaking her arm in an awkward manner a number of times before kissing her bare shoulder. Just the facts here, folks. Just telling you the synopsis, the review. Because there's a number of international guests at the party, including leaders of regional countries, a police officer was present as part of the security protocol. The video shows that at one point, he approached Bush, put his hand on his back, and talked with him, which gave the complainant the chance to move away. So again, the footage has no sound, but it does not reveal what was said in that exchange. However, soon afterwards, Bush left the area and headed towards the bar. The woman who, according to the Crown's case, had been assaulted is then seen talking with the same police officer before approaching her husband and engaging in a conversation with him. Meanwhile, Bush is seen moving through the cocktail party, chatting with and hugging various women. Then he disappeared from the camera view because the bar was in a CCTV blind spot. But sometime later, the footage shows the arrival of Klein Glidden, his friend and former political colleague. Pay very close attention to this aspect of the story. Klein Glidden. Remember the last time there was an incident? Who were they trying to call to come and rescue? It was what's the other guy's name? Richard Parchment. Because there's always these handlers that Mr. Bush has that apparently they try to call. The Crown's case is that they tried to convince Mr. Bush to leave for an hour and he would not leave. And in fact, at one point, you actually see them trying to walk him out and he like pulls away from them multiple times. But let's continue reading this little synopsis here. So the video shows that Glidden, again, who wasn't at the event, so remember he showed up specifically now. So the video shows that Glidden headed to the bar area where he also disappeared from the view of the camera. Then he's seen guiding Bush outside onto the terrace and taking him to a more secluded, dark area away from the other guests where he chatted with him alone for about 12 minutes. Glidden then moved back inside. Bush remained outside for a few more minutes before he went back into the hotel and was again outside the CCTV view. At that point, the camera footage picked up the second complainant, showing her chatting with another woman before she too headed to the blind spot of the bar area. According to the Crown's case, during this time, she was assaulted by Bush. Although this was not caught in video, the Crown contends that Bush sucked and bit the woman's arm in what they say was a boorish and uninvited manner. The CCTV footage shows that moments later, Glidden returned as he raised his arms, headed to the area where Bush and the second victim were said to be. He was followed by the police officer who had spoken with Bush following the alleged assault of the first woman. After that, Glidden is again seen guiding Bush outside and away from other guests. And the footage, my apologies, shows Glidden attempting to steer Bush, who was carrying a drink, out of the party, even as Bush continued to stop and chat with guests and hug various women. With the help of another woman who was not identified by the Crown, Glidden eventually ushered Bush out of the cocktail area and towards the hotel's main lobby and the exit, even as he tried to shake off Glidden and the woman who was assisting. Charles Miskin KC, who was prosecuting the case, said that Bush had been drinking and appeared to be drunk that evening. However, he made no reference to Bush's inebriation as he questioned the detective about the footage. So that is a matter for, I don't think they can prove whether he was intoxicated or not, but that would not make a difference with the allegations, right? So then after that, we all went to the Ritz for the site visit, and the jurors were able to see the location, the hallway there, the terrace area where he had walked out with Mr. Glidden and so on. So the case continues, folks. Very, very interesting indeed. What a hot mess. All right, that's all we're going to say there. The trial continues today. So after the show, the first thing I do is put on my pants and head straight to the court. Yes, let me just see. Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Cameron says it sounds like an episode of Gimme Story. So, Miss Barbara, I'm going to remove your comment. I don't want any comments in relation to the case at all. It's not about anybody watching Mr. Bush. It's about the fact that an allegation has been made. And so once the allegation was made, they then pulled the CCTV footage, which would be very helpful if you're making allegations against someone and there is CCTV footage there. In fact, that would be the very first thing that you would do. And so because that is at least one victim was assaulted on camera, it's not about watching Mr. Bush. It's about showing the jury what you have on CCTV footage, which you really can't normally argue with too much. Okay. And so you have to lay out the case in such a way where you demonstrate and you show what is alleged to have happened, and that includes reviewing his movements on that night. So it's not about anybody watching Mr. Bush. If there were no allegations against him, the footage would not have been pulled and we would not be having this conversation. He would not have been arrested and he would not have been charged and nobody would have cared. Listener to the program says, morning, the show has hit me. The show today has hit me like a brick wall. I've been depressed, angry, just an absolute distraught since I've lost my baby girl Friday. I haven't eaten. I haven't slept. I cry all day and night, and I'm actually living in hell since she was killed. I fight to wake up every day for my son, but my baby girl was also my daughter, not a dog. I've reached out for help, and the callers are right. You don't know when or how it will hit you, and when it does, you question life. I'm so sorry to hear that. And as someone who has tragically lost a dog as well, this person lost her 15-month-old, I believe, 15 or 18 months old dog in a very tragic situation. I can completely sympathize with 15 months. I can completely sympathize with you. And the pain never goes away. I hate to tell you this. It never goes away, but time does have a way of easing it a little bit. It's just, it is very, very tragic. Unfortunately, I'm reminded on a daily basis about my loss because the dogs are still next door. So every time I go out there and I hear them bark or I see them, I have a PTSD moment. So I can completely understand that your situation is still very new and very, very raw. And I'm really sorry for your loss. And don't feel any way about, again, reaching out to someone to talk to. All right. Miss Vernita says it's a good start though for taking back your life or getting your life on track. Keep away from toxic, selfish people. May God bless us all. Dee Dee says some of these teachers are horrible people to deal with. I used to be up at 5 a.m. to cook my children a home cooked lunch. One day the cafeteria microwave was not working and they were sent to the office to get the food warmed up. The teacher grabbed it out of my child's hand. The food dropped on the floor. The lady from the cafeteria went to check that they're getting help, only to find the teacher scraping the food off the ground and putting it back in the container for them to eat. What? Say what? Okay. No, sir. Wow. That's disgusting. Ms. Hilda asked, how long will the trial run for? It's hard to say, to be honest, because they'll call their witnesses and then the defense will put on a defense potentially. I don't know if they intend to call Mr. Bush as his own witness. That may happen. So the defense doesn't have to tell anybody in advance if they tend to call anyone or not. So we don't know is the short answer to that. We'll have to wait and see. Oh my gosh, what a hot mess. Scraping food off the floor to give your children. Wow. No, sir. Wouldn't be me. My God. Lord Jesus. Ooh, honey child, we would have to pray about that one for sure. Some people are just, listen, I can't deal with these teachers, you know. I'm sorry. I told my husband, I said, let me tell you something. If I got to twerk on a pole, and I do mean it, to try to put my child in private school, not that private schools are inherently any better, but what happens is in a private school, you tend to have some greater degree of accountability. Since you're paying them for your child's education, they can at least answer your phone calls, if nothing else. Wow. Good morning, caller. What a hot mess.
Hey, good morning. I know. Good morning. How are you?
Not bad, dear. How are you?
I'm just shaking. I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Yes,
I'm checking on my chocolate.
Did you go by the station to collect them?
Oh, it's there. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, from that same day we dropped them off.
Okay, my darling.
Yep. So just go by TMS station and pick them up.
Okay, there. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, you're most welcome.
I'm tuning in.
Ma'am.
I'm tuning in.
Okay.
Yes, I'm rolling up in here.
Yay.
Yay.
Very good. Thank you, my dear.
All right, bye.
Yes, this is a good time to remind you guys to go by the DMS station to collect your chocolates if you won last week. Remember, we gave away some lovely chocolates. Johan says, general comment, any woman that feels disrespected is inappropriately touched by any man or female must take drastic actions and slap the hell out of the person that has taken liberties and crossed the line. This is your right to defend yourself against any assault or battery. Do what you got to do. I could not agree more. Cameron says Coco was a boss. Oh, my sweet Coco. Yes, indeed. Yeah, boy. I'm just so glad that I was in there. All right. First Lady said, that must be a lie. That can't be true, says Cameron. Disgusting, says Gareth. I doubt the floor is clean enough for the roaches to eat from, too. Ew. Yeah, that is really nasty. Oh, Lord Jesus. What a mess. All right. I wanted to do a couple news headlines around the world. So let me get to that now. By the way, computer services, security breached. A lot of people are still asking me, what's the latest on that? Government sent out a statement that was the most non-statement that I've ever seen in my life. They wasted somebody's 45 minutes trying to draft that and send that out. It was the most nonsensical thing I've ever seen. They claim that they didn't say that no one got into the system. They just said that data was not compromised and some other foolishness. Please. Here's what somebody else said yesterday. They said, what a mess. Because of the Russian computer hack that was hidden from everyone for months now, because it is now known in the public domain, a very heavy-handed approach to fixing the problem has been taken. No external sites can be accessed by users of the government system. What a disaster. Talk about closing the gate after the horse has gone. A lot of very sensitive data was breached months ago, but it wasn't disclosed. From the time all government users had to change their passwords to 15 characters months ago, I knew that something was wrong. Well, they do their best to hide it from the people. When we bring it to the forefront, my apologies. When we bring it to the forefront, they then go into denial mode. So the statement that they sent out, let me see if I can read it to y'all, because again, it's like a non-statement is what it should be called, not a statement. Classic example of where people try to confuse you. So they basically said, let me get a look here. This is what they said. Oh no, wrong message. Hold on. They said, this was on last week. When did they send this out? Friday? So, oh, where the heck is it? Hold on. It was the most bizarre statement, I must say. Very, very strange. So Wendy Ledger messaged them and said, can we please get government's response to this? And so they drafted the following, which I can tell you she thought was a waste of time. She's like, why are these idiots putting this foolishness in my inbox? So they basically said, bizarre. This was a short, very short statement issued on the 16th. Hold on. Let me see if I can save this and show you all. Give me 1 second here. Yes, okay. Like I said, non-statement is what this should be aptly described as. So them say the following. Statement from CIG. Cybersecurity Office. There has been no successful compromise of the Cayman Islands government systems or services. Like most large organizations around the world, the Cayman Islands government systems and services experience cybersecurity threats on an ongoing basis. We continue to repel these through our vigilant and robust cybersecurity protocols. Liars. So, I mean, I guess it depends on how you describe successful compromise. And then, in the second paragraph, they're kind of admitting that, yes, it happens, but they didn't take anything of significant. I don't know what these people are talking about, honey chill. I do not know. They know that there was a breach, and they know that they brought in a heavy hitter who's called an ethical hacker to try and get them to figure out, because they don't even know how the person got in. But as that other worker said, they've been locking things down for a minute now. Gabby says the USA have issues as well with China hacking into their systems. Yes, the difference is most people admit it. But our government wants to hide everything. Sure. What a mess. All right, let's do some regional headlines around the world. Did y'all see, by the way, that a Russian guy who defected, he was a pilot. Oh Lord, what's his name now? He was a pilot and he ran off to Spain. He was murdered in Spain. I think it was yesterday or the day before, something like that. So Russian defector helicopter pilot shot dead in Spain 1 day ago. Yeah, this has got the hands all over it of the Russian government. So it says that Spanish police suspect bullet-riddled body may be Russian who defected with army helicopter. Of course it is. So he went to Russia. He defected to Ukraine, and now he was found only 28 years old. He was found shot to death in Spain. And the interesting thing is, he's like the second person, I think, or the third person this week who was either defector or spoke out against the Russian government that is now dead. So they have some long arms, honey child. They went all the way to Spain to find him. So, yep. So they said that he invited his ex to his place and was found shot dead. The source added that a burnt out vehicle was found nearby, and it was theorized that his killer would have used the vehicle. So he defected. He went through Ukraine, and he said that Russia had previously threatened to kill the former pilot and had branded him a traitor. And he had piloted an Mi-8 helicopter into Ukraine and received $500,000 in exchange for defecting for the piece of valuable equipment. What a hot mess. So he defected back in, I think, September or so of last year. So apparently he was the only one who had experience flying that aircraft, which is kind of interesting. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Morning, dear.
And you went from one little subject to the next little subject, but telling us what we don't know. And that's the main thing, and I appreciate it. Not 100%, but 1,000%. I don't know who else does. I guess it's many, but I do appreciate you and what you're telling, because you're telling the truth, and we're not coming down to us yet and realizing that all of this is going on in this little island, and we can do something about it. But I know it's getting late, and if you can bring up the subject of mental illness on Friday, I definitely would appreciate that, because I'm dealing with one as well. Thank you very much, Sandy.
Thank you so much.
And God bless you for the job that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, 936-2626. A little bit of left in the show. So yes, that's at least 2 people, I think, this week. One, I believe, was in custody in a Russian prison, but he's killing. The Russian government seems to be killing everybody who doesn't like it or agree with them. So what a hot mess. Other headlines around the world. Some of these are very, very interesting. Measles making a comeback. Highest numbers that they've seen in quite some time. So this is a very interesting story. Good morning, caller. Hello. Oh, okay. So the World Health Organization has issued a warning about the rapid spread of measles around the world, noting that there has been a 79% increase from 2022, with more than 306,000 cases reported last year. What a hot mess. In a news conference yesterday, the UN Health Agency said that it did not yet have an overview of measles deaths for last year, but expects the increase in fatalities from the disease. In 2022, the number of deaths increased by 43%, according to their models, to more than 130,000 deaths occurring from measles. And so they're expecting that to go up for 2023 as well. It's just crazy. And what is driving it is people's refusal to get vaccinated. So the declining vaccination rates jeopardizing herd immunity and increasing the risk of outbreaks. So it's so interesting because they had officially declared measles eradicated in the US more than 20 years ago. And of course, because everybody is a medical expert, no one wants to get vaccinated anymore. Now measles is killing, quite a number of people, of 130,000 for 2022. And that number is expected to increase. They're saying that they foresee the number of unvaccinated children, immune system compromise, and they start to see an increase in those numbers definitely, as well as it relates to death. Sad situation. All right, moving on. This is rapid fire with the news headlines. So speaking of vaccinations, this is a good story in my opinion, because now they have the largest COVID vaccine numbers. So there's a lot of people who have an opinion about the COVID vaccine. I'm always shocked at how people are living their worst possible lives, doing everything to increase their risk of heart disease, heart attack, stroke, and everything else. And they want to blame COVID vaccine for it. It's beyond interesting. But nonetheless, they now have a study of near 100 million people. So this is the largest COVID vaccine related study covering over, let me see how many countries. So it's near 100 million countries, 100 million people. I think it's like 8 countries. It's the most comprehensive number that they have definitely taken. Let me just pull up something really quickly here. So the good news with this, and I see a lot of anti-vaxxers sending it around, but you know, you got to make sure that you can read and you can read the details, right? So the results are not that there's a cause and effect or that COVID causes anything, COVID vaccine causes anything. It says that there is a link between certain types of the onset of certain types of diseases and the vaccine. A link does not mean causation. And so one has to be careful jumping to that conclusion. However, what one also needs to be very, very mindful of is that the numbers, even if there was a cause and effect, I will tell you this, the numbers are extremely low. So this isn't anything in my mind that would be causing significant shock or surprise, because even in the early days, for example, one of the things that we reported on is they found that in the really, really elderly population who were extremely compromised, we're talking about people maybe in their 80s and 90s who were in nursing homes and they were going to die in 6 months anyway, the accepted position as it relates to vaccination was not to vaccinate those individuals, because you were only exasperating their death, right? So the vaccine was not really designed for those persons. And there was good evidence to actually show that. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is, as one outlet said, everything has a potential risk. And so, yes, the COVID vaccine has rare risk that they have had a look at. But this comprehensive study has really told you now that after 100 million people and some 13.5 billion doses of the COVID vaccine having been administered across the world, the vaccination is said to have saved 1.5 million lives just in Europe alone. But I think these studies are important, right? If there is a possible neurological, blood and heart related condition, even if it's remote and they've said it's extremely rare, then those are things that people need to know about. How rare are we talking about? Well, apparently, of the 99 million people studied, researchers observed 190 cases of the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is typically developed after viral infection. And there's also a link in rare cases to vaccines, and 69 cases of hematological conditions. So when we say rare, folks, we're talking about very, very rare. So all of you in Cayman who are claiming, well, I got this from the vaccine, I got that. You're not in the 190 people across out of 100 million people. I can assure you. It's psychosomatic, in my opinion, what a lot of you are experiencing. And if you do have physical symptoms, again, I was speaking to people, this happened to me, that. I'm like, you've had strokes before. You're diabetic. You have all these comorbidities. If it was not for the vaccine, you probably would have died. So death versus, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. So go and read it. You should read the numbers. But again, 13.5 billion vaccines haven't been administered worldwide. At least 71% of the world's population received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine. And, I'm sure they wanted the numbers to be higher, but that's not too shabby, at least for the one dose. And it said here, this is very, very important, the odds of all of these adverse effects is still much, much higher when infected with SARS-CoV-2. In other words, when you get COVID-19. So getting vaccinated is still by far the safer option. And that's the takeaway here, that, you know, you get COVID, you can get what's it called? Guillain-Barré syndrome. You can die from COVID. You can get strokes. There's neurological damage. COVID, the disease itself, is the only disease that they have found that has impacted every single organ of the human body. So, you know, it's like you're going to get COVID and get things from COVID, but you're not complaining about that. You're going to complain that, wow, I don't feel the same after I've gotten the vaccine. Well, you probably don't feel the same because you've actually had COVID. And there is such a thing as long haul COVID, which you guys would be well to do some research on. Good morning, caller. I cannot hear you. Oh, the connection is so poor. I can't.
That means a round of applause because people are dying and they're saying it's a vaccine. They're so foolish.
Yes, I can't quite make out. There's an issue with the phone lines, by the way, not specific to us, but I have noticed over the past week and a half a real degrading of the. Let me try calling you back. I've heard a real degrading in the phone lines, and I've actually spoken to Flo about it, and they are having some sort of an issue. I just don't know when it's going to be fixed, because I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but the quality of a lot of the calls is piss poor, to say the least. Really, really poor. Whew. So listen to this. The risk of developing the Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Hello.
Yes, that's better.
Yeah, I was saying people are dying, and you know how some foolish people around here, but it's the vaccine, and I'm telling you, if we never get that vaccine, so much of us would have gone already.
Of course.
Deserve a big kaboom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, I love it.
Thank you so much, caller.
You're welcome.
So we have a PhD professor of immunobiology at Yale University, says that myocarditis, which is one of the issues that they acknowledge early on in relation to the vaccine, risk after the second dose of a COVID vaccine was 35.9 per 100,000, compared to 64.9 per 100,000 risk after a COVID infection. So let me break that down for you. What that means, folks, is you get COVID, you can still get this particular myocarditis, but it's like double what you would get from the vaccine. The risk is like double what it would be just from COVID alone. So stick with me, folks. The risk of developing the Guillain-Barré syndrome after a COVID infection was 6 times greater versus the vaccine. And the risk of developing it after vaccination was 0.41 times greater than the control group, according to a 2023 study published in Neurology. Listen, I'm glad that it's out, because I think anybody who reads this will understand, and not anybody, because y'all anti-vaxxers just don't want to understand. You would have to see that the risk of the vaccine having a detrimental effect potentially on you, a link, not a causation, is very, very minute. But these studies have to be done so that we know, right? No need to hide information in any direction whatsoever. Make the information available. Lots of people have had their COVID vaccines. This is fantastic that we now have 100 million database of 100 million people that we can actually look at. Rare occurrences of heart, brain, and blood disorders having a link. Again, don't confuse link and causation. And it still outweighs the risk that you would have from getting COVID itself. It is what it is, folks. All right, you can read the study in the journal Vaccine. Go ahead and check it out for yourselves, see how the study was done. We'll see about having an expert come on the show and speak to everybody and perhaps answer some questions and so on. All right, that's about it. We have some other news headlines around the world. We'll pick up on some of those tomorrow. Some are very, very interesting. I got a pit bull story to tell you guys about. I've got a Supreme Court story to tell you about, which is very interesting as well. We'll have a Tech Thursday moment while we're at it and talk a little bit about technology on tomorrow's program as well. So here you know, good folks, I got to run, get to court, because y'all know I need to bring you today's recap on tomorrow's show as well. All right, good people. Y'all have an absolutely fantabulous day. Please be safe out in these streets. Take your time driving, and don't be flipping your cars. Don't be making the babies hang out the window. That's not safe for anybody. Okay, beautiful people. Catch you on the flip side tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.